Moroba intiere mineno inyalo tudri kodwa e mbui mar Instagram, Twitter kata TikTok at Victor Olo. Inyalo yuda kanyo endo. Wago mbaka kachiel kochakre sani nyaka ang' orom sa ang'wen mar okinyi. Weche mantiere mabiro kendo matuch mawuok e kuonde mopogore opogore. An kaka iluonga ni Victor Olo. Machiegni gi kora Mogajwang, jo Kenya. Today is World Radio Day. Hello. Did you just hear that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Taking me back to the olden days.
I need to come for some, language lessons.
Yeah.
The Luo language blends with English.
Seamlessly.
Yes.
Seamlessly.
No, it's actually good morning, Kenya. You just feel like it's the same language being spoken.
Okay, let's give it to Mike. Mike.
No.
No.
Let's do that another day.
Okay. The reason as to why that is happening is World Radio Day, and the whole of this week's been a whole celebration. And as Channel One, we have so many sister stations in the house. So we are in partnership and in collaboration. We are celebrating together with them. Radio is a powerful tool, all right? Regina, why don't we have World TV Day? Mike, Vivian, surely.
We should have World TV Day.
I was asking that
so?
same question yesterday.
Yeah.
I think if you look at the first forms of communication, radio happens to be the first mass form of communication.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's still termed the best form of communication, especially in the hinterlands there.
Yes.
And talking about the number of stations that we have, I mean, we have over 21 that are already, up and running. And one of them happens to be speaking also my native language. I don't know if you know that we have a Meru station, Victor, Vivian, and Mike.
Yeah.
Are you aware?
Yes.
Yep.
Can you say the name of the radio station, or should I do the honors?
Just do the honors.
Do the honors. In fact, do the honors.
Do the
You can say
honors
something.
in your...
Talk to them.
Yes.
Talk to them.
Mwago FM unibitagwa gasherio manyara. Narwa puriona gipindi gitagwa Good Morning Kenya. Twina a lot of updates in terms of news. Ende twathirania na mantu jajo nde tugatrima na areo me KBC kenda uni na ugwe twaraniria Kimeru. Onto this is a home of cultural immersion and communication. Bokoria ne kindaria na gishonkwau ende tutena rietoria cultural immersion in Kimeru ende itwaragia Kimeru na itokiandika. This is Good Morning Kenya.
You know, this is the first time I've had Ray speak in mother tongue.
Same, I've never had her
in
speak
29 years, right?
Oh, wow.
In 29 years.
In forever years.
Did you say in 29 years, Victor? How old does that make me?
All right.
Well, we can speak our native language. Why not?
No, I think the best thing is for us to always understand, our mother tongue.
Yeah.
We get identified when you speak your mother tongue. There is just some sense of pride in it, and there is no problem with that. Okay, so welcome to the program. My name is Victor Olo. Vivian?
Welcome to the program. As Victor mentioned, we are celebrating radio, as a form of communication. And the exact date will be on the 13th of February, just a day before Valentine's. That will be on Friday. But we are celebrating it the whole of this week. A lot of activities have actually been happening around Broadcasting House, and they stay happening, they keep happening. And there are actually the themes to it, and Ray is representing with that sporty look, with that Brazil jersey. But anyway, speaking about, radio, I will be having Radio Queens right here on the show. Hail to the Radio Queens. And I'll be joined by a presenter from English Service, that is none other than Catherine Ndonye. We'll also have Sinti from Radio Taifa, and then we'll also have a presenter from Nosim FM, Wale wa Masai. Yes, that is Nashipai Ndilai. They will be here for us to just talk matters radio and how that, how it shapes conversations all over, not just in the country. So it's going to be a beautiful conversation. It's going to be an amazing one. as we celebrate them as our women at the forefront. Mike?
Yes, even as we talk about that, I want us to delve in matters education, the CBE system, the transition and the pathways. Do you understand how this system works? Well, and that is a conversation I'll be having with Mark Anderson, who is the founder and principal of Core Academy, as well as Catherine Mwathani from the same institution. That conversation will be coming to you at exactly 8 a.m. So stay tuned to this live broadcast, right?
Now, yes, as you said, we are in theme. So today, in looking at the program that we have for KBC's version of the Radio Week, remember the date being the 13th of February. Today is sports, you know, a sports jersey, and you get to wear a sports jersey and jeans. Well, for those who are usually in front of the camera or on this side of the camera, it's a very rare opportunity for us to don the jerseys. So I think the rest of the team just decided, yo, we are mature. We don't do jerseys for work. But hey, myself and the producer here, we got the memo. And we're doing the repping. Remember, the doors are open at headquarters. This is KBC Channel 1. You just walk in and get to interact with various producers, various radio commentators, and you know, reporters, anchors, so to speak, as you just try and meet you. You know, it's a meet and greet. We want to talk about what you think we need to do to improve, what you like about the programs that we have on radio. And the icing on the cake is going to be happening on Friday. Why? We're going to be having a party that is going to be starting at 4 p.m. till late, right here. Doors are open from 4 p.m. And those who enjoy a bit of nostalgic music, you know, this is a home of nostalgia and a lot of fun too. You'll be treated to some serious sunset date kind of music. So this is a place to be the entire week, with a culmination being Friday the 13th, right here at headquarters. And we're going to be having various presenters this morning, as Vivian said, including Catherine Donye. Those who listen to Sundowner definitely know who Catherine Donye is. So you have been asking for an opportunity to have a party within Nairobi County. The party is coming down right here from headquarters on Friday, as we mark the World Radio Day. That we're having our updates as we continue with this particular broadcast. But first things first, let me bring you up to speed with our stories that have been making headlines. Then maybe I can tell you why I settled for the Brazil jersey. The memories are not so good if you remember the FIFA World Cup of 2022 and the game between Belgium and Brazil. Story as we end this particular, as we bring this to a tail end and usher the rest of the programming. So we start off with matters of legislatures, where war of words between governors and senators deepened Tuesday as senators continued their onslaught on governors, accusing the county heads of imploring tactics to avoid accountability. Senate County Public Accounts Committee Chair Moses Kajwang and the County Public Investment Committee Chair Godfrey Otsotsi, in an interview with KBC Channel 1, warned the governors who opt to snub Senate summons will be surcharged, fined and funding halted. Abdiaziz Hashim has the details of this particular tussle.
It's the duty of the entity. If you come here with embarrassing records, we will embarrass you. If you come here with embarrassing responses, we'll embarrass you. If your audit reports are an embarrassment, indicative of theft, we will not bembeleza you.
We know that this is a plan to try and intimidate Senate from performing its role, and we will not be intimidated.
We narrowed down our issues to one committee and certain members of that committee.
The spat between senators and governors deepened on Tuesday.
So the ones who have a problem with the Senate also have a problem with management of financial resources, and by extension, they have a problem with the people.
And in any case, the chair of COG has been giving us problems. And yet we hear that he wants to become a senator in 2027. How will he become a senator when he's scandalizing Senate?
Senate's own standing orders require that if certain people are mentioned, they step aside from that committee.
With senators maintaining they will not back down.
We are proposing DORA for 26-27 financial year of 534 billion Kenya shillings.
We will tell the Treasury to stop transfer of funds to those counties. If some governors choose not to appear and choose to run away from accountability.
Speaking to KBC Channel 1, Senate County Public Accounts Committee Chair Moses Kajwang and the County Public Investment Committee Chair Godfrey Ososi faulted the governors and dismissed their claims that senators were guilty of extortion and intimidation.
And if they have any allegations of extortion, harassment, there are proper channels through which those can be done. And we challenge them to use those channels. But otherwise, these are just sideshows.
And whatever evidence governors have, governors will table to him and to his leadership.
Those governors who will not come to our meetings, we will surcharge them for the expenses of the meeting. We will also fine them.
Despite the Council of Governors' resolution to ignore Senate summons, Narok Governor Patrick Ole Ntutu and Kitui Governor Julius Malombe honored Senate summons. The decision by Murang'a Governor Irungu Kang'ata to snub summons appeared to irk the committee.
And if he still fails to appear, then we shall engage the Inspector General of Police.
The standoff has since piqued the interest of the Senate Speaker, Amason Jaffa Kingi, who warned the Senate will not be cowed from playing its oversight role.
But the chair of the Council of Governors is requesting that we give him an earlier date. He's not asking not to come. He's asking to be given an earlier date and misleading the other governors not to come.
You know, I'm a pastoralist. Where I come from, we die of all manner of things, even including stray bullets. So it doesn't help to threaten me with jail and stuff like that. No.
The CPAC chair, Moses Kajwang, has directed the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, to appear before the committee on Thursday to expound as to how and why he has not produced some of the governors who have failed to appear before the said committee.
We're likely to have development in this particular quarters. As they said, some of the legislators are supposed to meet with the Speaker to discuss on the way forward there with an impasse seemingly in the offing. We'll be keeping tabs on that from what is happening within the National Assembly. Now, the Cabinet has authorized the release of 4.1 billion shillings in response to drought, especially in the northern counties. Mandera, Wajir, Kwale and Kilifi counties have been categorized as in alarm phase. The Cabinet says 3.3 million people are facing acute food shortage due to the failure of the October-December short rains. Giverson Minor reports.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this morning.
The Cabinet sitting on Tuesday, chaired by President William Ruto, said drought conditions have deteriorated rapidly since January 2026. An estimated 3.3 million people, the Cabinet says, are currently facing acute food insecurity and could further rise to 3.6 million by June 2026 if urgent intervention is not taken. Mandera, Wajir, Kwale and Kilifi counties have been listed on the alarm phase, while 12 counties are in the alert phase, most of them on a worsening trajectory. Over 810,000 children and 104,000 expectant and lactating women are facing acute malnutrition.
We have the whole of this year.
The Cabinet says the additional funding supplements allocations made in December 2025 and January 2026, which supported relief food, logistics, and limited non-food assistance. The Cabinet also raising concern over deteriorating livestock conditions, increased livestock deaths and distress sales, rising human-wildlife conflict, and the risk of escalation into an emergency.
Now, thank you for those who are watching from home. I have a response there that is questioning. Oh, Regina, so you are a fan of Brazil. Well, we'll be talking about why we are having the jerseys on set this morning. But on to some sad news is that protests rocked Kiathangi in Madeira, Nyeri County, for the better part of the day yesterday, as irate residents protested the brutal killing of a 9-year-old child. The minor reportedly went missing on Saturday last week before her body was found dumped in a pit latrine. John Kahiro with the details.
Anger, shock and grief A dark cloud of sorrow hangs over the Kianjadi area in Mathira constituency, Nyeri County. The community is yet to comprehend what transpired, leading to the brutal murder of the 9-year-old girl.
We are not going to allow. We need justice for this.
The angered residents say the girl, identified as Chantel Waruguru, disappeared on Saturday last week, and a week-long search ended in tragedy.
Tuko na makasiliko, tunashindwa kwani watoto tutapeleka wapi? Sasa hii ni Shantero, tulikuwa na mwingine. Sasa tunashindwa kwani nyinyi wanaume tutapeleka wasichana wapi? Hatutazaa wasichana, tukizaa wasichana tunakuwa na dudu.
According to the residents who are now demanding justice, the suspect in her murder was a close relative.
Ametoroa kosho, tumekuta amekatakatwa nini ya unyama, alikuwa amekatwa kiunyama sana. So tunaomba serikali, hii mambo imeanza kufanyika sana, so waangalia mambo na watupatie security.
Overwhelmed by grief, the residents ferried Chantel's body through the streets, accusing the police of inaction.
This morning, we managed to retrieve the body from the toilet of the suspect, a newly built toilet, which is about 20 feet down.
Her body was later taken to PGH Nyeri Referral Hospital mortuary, pending an autopsy. Chantel's death comes barely months after a 10-year-old girl was also gruesomely killed in Nyeri town, raising concerns on child safety. In a statement, the Directorate of Criminal Investigation say they have arrested the suspect identified as Peter Njuguna in connection with the murder.
Such incidences, they are sometimes very, very difficult to prevent because they involve relatives. Who knew an Anango can do this to his own child? Nobody who came from outside that homestead.
So while we are awaiting that autopsy report to just ascertain how that girl Chantel lost her life, you can feel the pain of the women down there in Nyeri just questioning, is it a crime to actually give birth to a baby girl? Looking at the series of crimes against children, especially girls, that have been happening in that particular area. So what is being said from the DCI social media platform is that man actually led them to the pit latrine there, and it's alleged that he lured the child with 10 shillings, to follow them, and the rest is as is. We are waiting for that particular report. Now, the sustainability of the Social Health Authority is facing serious gaps in financing, which risk undermining the National Health Insurance Body. Speaking in Nairobi on Tuesday, the Institute of Economic Affairs and Programs Coordinator John Mutua said that while SHA is operational, the system is facing structural and operational challenges that must be urgently addressed.
Nearly 500 days since the Social Health Authority came into effect on October 1st, 2024, questions persist over its sustainability, equity and governance. Addressing the BD in Nairobi, IEA Kenya Programs Coordinator John Mutua revealed that inadequate funding remains the biggest challenge in SHA implementation.
I mean, no doubt SHA is working, but what we can see, given the challenges that undermine its effectiveness, it is not working as desired or as intended.
IAA is now proposing innovative financing mechanisms, including earmarked taxes from products like tobacco and alcohol to boost health funding. The Institute further raised concerns about claims management and fraud.
But also the action on those that have been caught, whether it's government officials or facility officials, whether it's SHA officials who collide with some of those officers. They need to act on those cases in order to reduce the cases of fraud.
Data presented at the briefing shows that between January and October 2025, SHA collected an average of 6.5 billion shillings per month against a projected requirement of 8.3 billion shillings.
It means the fund is not receiving the adequate or the projected revenue that it requires in order to provide services.
The think tank is also calling for continuous public sensitization, flexible contribution options, and stronger institutional capacity, including hiring specialized actuarial experts to boost SHA efficiency.
As pressure mounts on the government to address governance gaps and allegations of fraud, the future of the Social Health Authority now hinges on reforms and public trust.
Now, just a quick summary of what has been happening from the courts is that the murder case of the late starlet Wahoo, who died on January 2024, continued yesterday with the government pathologist Emily Oworo and the arresting officer Pores Arwa testifying. Oworo told the court that the samples collected from inside the apartment in South B, where the late Wahoo was found lying in a pool of blood, matched those found on Matara. Matara told the court he was involved in a scuffle with the late Wahoo but denied killing her. Further details are available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. We cross over to business, where the government plans to spend 4.7 trillion shillings this financial year 2026-2027. This is according to the new estimates approved by the Cabinet on Tuesday. According to the Cabinet dispatch, the recurrent expenditure will absorb the lion's share at 3.5 trillion shillings, with the development vote standing at 75 trillion shillings. Now, the counties that will receive a total of 496 billion shillings to run their affairs, according to the Cabinet brief.
At 4.7 trillion shillings, the 2026-2027 budget is 0.4% more than the current budget of 4.29 trillion shillings presented by National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Badi in June last year. The government projects total revenues of 3.53 trillion shillings against planned expenditure of 4.7 trillion shillings, leaving more than 1.2 trillion shillings to be financed through borrowing and funding by development partners. A cabinet brief shows that recurrent expenditure accounts for the largest share at 3.46 trillion shillings, while 749.5 billion shillings has been allocated to develop roads, houses, bridges and other government projects. County governments will receive 495.7 billion shillings, including equitable share and additional allocations, while 2 billion shillings have been set aside for the contingency fund. The Cabinet has approved the budget policy statement for 2026, which outlines priority spending areas including education, health, infrastructure, agriculture, energy, alongside reforms in public finance management, digitization and reforming state-owned enterprises. The government projects an economic growth of 5.3% in 2026, citing improved agricultural output and ongoing policy reforms, although risks remain from climate shocks, debt servicing costs and global economic uncertainty. The budget proposals will now be tabled in Parliament, where lawmakers are expected to interrogate spending priorities and borrowing plans.
Still on matters business, the Central Bank of Kenya has lowered its benchmark lending rate in a move aimed at stimulating economic activity and boosting private sector credit. The Monetary Policy Committee cut the central bank rate by 25 basis points to 8.75%, citing easing inflation, improving credit growth and a stable macroeconomic environment. The decision comes ahead of today's MPC briefing, with the regulator signaling continued support for growth while keeping inflation seemingly anchored.
The latest policy rate cut extends to a rate easing cycle that began in October 2025 as the Central Bank of Kenya seeks to lower borrowing costs and stimulate private sector activity. The regulator says inflation remains well contained, easing to 4.4% in January, supported by lower food prices and stable energy costs. Economic growth has remained resilient, with the economy expanding by 4.9% in the third quarter of 2025, driven by a recovery in industry and steady performance in the services sector. The central bank has also adjusted its policy framework to improve how rate cuts are passed on to borrowers, narrowing the interest rate corridor around the policy rate. This is expected to strengthen the transmission of monetary policy to lending rates. The central bank says the rate cut will support lending and economic activity while keeping inflation and the exchange rate stable, with the next policy decision expected in April.
You may be wondering what this particular MPC means for you, especially if you're within private sector and you are thinking about credit. Well, it is expected that this is going to bring down by a small margin the cost of credit. That is your loan, the interest that is charged on it is likely to come down to some extent. But it's a matter of waiting and seeing if indeed the banks are going to implement this. Remember, we are entering into the Kesonia more kind of pricing of credit as per the Kenya Bankers Association there. So we'll be keeping tabs on that and what it means, especially for private sector, when it comes to being that access to credit has been termed as one of the main challenges that is stifling growth in that sector. Taking us to sports now, where the Ministry of Sports has issued a stern warning to sports federations engaging in internal wrangles, saying the government will crack the whip to ensure good governance. This was reiterated by Principal Secretary in the State Department for Sports, Elijah Mwangi, during the sponsorship unveiling of the WRC Safari Rally Kenya by Kenya Commercial Bank at KICC Nairobi. KCB has set aside 227 million shillings for this year's event, as Sean Moya reports.
KCB Bank is marking its 6th consecutive year of sponsorship for the WRC Safari Rally Kenya, with 100 million shillings going directly to the rally, while 28.5 million shillings will be spent on its 5th member team, which has a regional outlook for the first time. KCB Group Chief Executive Officer Paul Russo reiterated the bank's commitment to empowering youth and supporting sports development in order to raise sporting standards across the region, while also calling on the revival of the local championship, the KNRC.
We'll continue to be here, we'll continue to raise our voice on what needs to be done, to be fixed, and we'll continue to push Maina Muturi and everybody else to fix Kenya National Rally Championship.
Sports PS Elijah Mwangi also called on sports federations to put their houses in order, noting that the government support and funding will be tied to proper management and compliance with the laid down regulations.
Quite a number of them may be briefcase, but we have others who are just registered so that they can benefit from the government sponsorships. Over time, we have been cracking whips. We want to ensure that there is transparency, there is accountability, there is good governance.
The Safari Rally Kenya Chief Executive Officer Charles Gasheru promised an even more exciting spectacle for fans, with the drivers looking forward to provide the thrills and spills.
We really need to take motorsport back to where it was, the glory days. And we all know there has been some issues within the federations that need to be sorted out.
So if you're wondering what you're going to be doing over the weekend, is that Kenya, the question is, are you ready for Kenya to host its first maiden World Rugby 7 Series Division 2 leg with the opener season right here in Nairobi over the weekend, starting all the way on Saturday and Sunday. Which team are you supporting? I do hope that you're going to be supporting Shujaa all the way, and we're going to be there on ground with our sports team to bring you up to date with that particular showpiece there. Now, so this particular HSBC Sevens rugby tournament has received a major boost from Safaricom, who have committed 10 million shillings to support the event that is scheduled to take place during this weekend at the Nyayo National Stadium. Well, that puts a cap on Matters News this morning. Just to remind you that we are currently undertaking a KBC customized Radio Week calendar of events, so to speak. So today, we are all in jerseys of the teams that we prefer. This is Brazil. And I had promised to tell you why it is so. So during the FIFA 2022 World Cup, Belgium was squaring it out in the field with Brazil. And I've never seen, Brazil make such faults as it did, especially Neymar. And at the end of that particular game, Belgium carried the day, in as much as we had so much high hopes for Brazil. Neymar there continued rolling, and I remember a comment saying that he's rolling like a rolling pin on the field. So nonetheless, here we are. We're looking forward to 2026. So much is set for the World Cup, despite what is happening across the world, the geopolitics around it. But we are waiting to, watch that particular global showpiece. But before we talk the World Cup. We'll be keenly focusing on the developments within the EPL League here, the Kenyan local one, and also keeping tabs on other sporting activities. But as of this weekend, which happens to be the Valentine weekend, if you enjoy a bit of adrenaline and watching, rugby and all that stuff, the Nyayo National Stadium is a place to be. Kenya is going to be hosting her first maiden, Rugby World Series second leg 2, the opener right here in Nairobi. So are you ready? Well, ready or not, here we come. KBC crew is going to be on ground and our doors remain open for the Radio Week. So see you on Friday where it's the highlight. We're going to be having a party all the way from 4 p.m. till late. So make your way to headquarters here on KBC at KBC Grounds on Hari Thuku Road and get to meet and interact with some of the radio presenters as well as us who work within this particular building. And let's, look at the developments that radio is likely and has undertaken over the last few years with a keen focus on matters AI. I'm Regina Manyara. I hand you over to Victor Law for the rest of the conversation that is definitely going to feature what is happening within the political scene. Which way forward for ODM? It's the main question. Over to you, Victor.
Tunatambulika kwa mandhari yetu ya kuvutia,
tamaduni zetu, ukarimu wetu, vyakula vyetu, uchapakazi,
na pia kwa sauti tofauti za watangazaji wetu waliobobea.
Libengo liko hapa aka upcoming sponsor. Bila shaka hapa ni kama ya PDG, ma deep state, pia vile cartels.
Tunaenzi talanta za pwani, tunakuza talanta za hapa kwetu nyumbani.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tuko mjengoni kama kawa na wanangu wengine wawili.
Usikose kutegea 103.1 Pwani FM, stesheni ambayo itakupa fursa ya kupata uhondo kamili wa pwani na kuleta Wakenya pamoja.
Pwani FM, tafrija kipwani.
Don't move. This isn't over yet. That's enough of you. Let go of me, you deaf! I said let go! I'm telling you, I can destroy you with my phone. Jason, come on, let go! Let's try. I put up with you for months.
Oh, well, we're so sorry.
That's not good enough. Look at my car. Look at what he did.
So sorry.
What kind of hotel is this?
You're right.
You here to scam us? What do you think this is?
That's it.
All right. Hurry up! Hurry up! Send help!
Jinsi ambavyo binadamu anahitaji lishe bora kwa ajili ya kukua vizuri, basi ndio hivyo kwa mifugo wako. Wanahitaji chakula bora, sio tu chakula. Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tunaangazia Junkao, lishe kwa ng'ombe wako.
Hii nyasi inakuliwa na wanyama wote. Sungura, nguruwe, ng'ombe, mbuzi, kondoo, hata pia kuku. Protein yake iko between 16 and 18%. Ni kama kulisha na dairy milk. Kila siku.
Ungana nasi kila Jumamosi saa 10:30 hapa KBC Channel 1 kwa mseto kamili wa kilimo.
Great, welcome back. It's now 11th day of February 2026. Good morning, it's a Wednesday. My name is Victor Olo. Welcome to the program. If you're just joining us, today being a Wednesday is a viewpoint, and let's take a look at what's happening really across the country, politically speaking, and so much more. All right, let's start by my guest already in the studio, introducing them, Engineer Crispus Wathimba, who is a political analyst. I'm seeing them for the first time this year, and yeah, so it's still safe to say Happy New Year, gentlemen. Crispus Wathimba, good morning.
Good morning and Happy New Year to Victor.
Good morning, welcome. Asante Sana. In the middle is Oscar Monde. Oscar is political and governance expert. He's also a university don, dispensing knowledge.
Yes, ownership of knowledge. Good morning.
But you have to know that you passed through Sosion. So, relax.
Yeah, you know, Sosion is a veteran.
You see?
The English is speaking ideally.
No, relax.
Good morning, everybody, and good morning, Sosion.
All right, he's your senior. Okay, welcome, Oscar. Karibu sana. And of course, Wilson Sosion is veteran unionist and educator. Karibu sana, Mheshimiwa.
Asante sana, Victor.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You're looking fresh.
Yes.
The year probably has started on a high.
Yeah.
Things are good on your side. Share the joy.
And of course, all of us should look forward to a very prosperous new year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And work hard.
And work hard.
It doesn't come easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, let me start by the front page of the local dailies very fast. On the front page of the Daily Nation is Unholy Alliance. That's what I have here. Unholy Alliance is between the Council of Governors and the Senate. So there is that back and forth between the Public Accounts Committee and the governor, saying that there are some 4 notorious senators who are, quote-unquote, extorting money from the governors. And so it's a bribery scandal that has sparked a bitter feud between governors and senators, exposes underhand dealings and a conspiracy to defeat accountability. Governors have now vowed to name and shame corrupt senators who they claim extort bribes to go easy on audit queries. An extortion racket, they admit, has thrived for far too long. But senators have dared county bosses to make good their threats to snub watchdog committees, questioning why governors would actually pay bribes if they had nothing to hide. So who will blink first? You see how it can get. Engineer, who is going to blink first? It was sometimes back when the president also raised this matter in State House, when they had a meeting, that he has and receives raw intelligence. So they say when a crocodile comes out of water and tells you that the crocodile is sick, an alligator comes out of water and tells the crocodile is sick, who are you to judge the story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think wherever there is smoke, there is always fire. This has also come out from the president in the past.
Yes.
We have had this kind of complaints previously, though in isolated manners. But now when you see the Council of Governors coming together collectively to make such a bold statement, it really speaks to the kind of rot we have in Parliament. But if you recall back in the 2014, 2015, when also money was used to save a certain minister who was about to be ousted. So that gave room for money to be used to manipulate the outcome of discussion or deliberations in Parliament. And that speaks to the quality of leadership we have in our country. It's very unfortunate that despite having the new constitution, which gave birth to independent institutions that are supposed to be able to provide the checks and balances for this kind of problems, we are not hearing any effort from these institutions to try and tame this rot which has happened to be there for quite some time. Even when the president mentioned about it and he said that he had received intelligence, we did not see some of these institutions moving very fast to arrest, to investigate, and to find out what this problem is. So it will continue being a circus in the media. Nobody wants to go to these institutions to report this matter. And Kenyans will just continue being entertained while we are still suffering, because whatever is being bribed over is money or resources that have been lost, or management of resources that has gone bad, or work that is not being done in the right way.
Okay.
And we as a country, we are the ones who are the biggest loss.
I'll get back to the front page of the local dailies very shortly. Oscar, there is this, I mean, it's more of a ping pong. Senators are now saying that why are the county bosses not making appearances to the Senate if they know that they're clean? I mean, so it's pure politics. There's a story here on the front page. I'll come back to you, Oscar, on that. ODM crisis talks after Uhuru's Azimio move, okay? So it is said that there's a deepening power struggle between factions led by party leader Oburu Oginga and Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, who is the leaders, are now making efforts to... There's a meeting actually in Mombasa today, convened, to discuss contentious issues. The National Executive Committee meeting comes amid reports that Mr. Oginga on Monday sought to stem an implosion following a largely successful rally in Busia by the rival camp. That is actually on the front page of the Star newspaper, which says that Oburu team plans to kick out Sifuna in Mombasa meet. That is on the front page of the Star. So there is a disquiet or a quiet push to replace him with the Governor Paul Otuoma. That is Busia Governor Paul Otuoma. Coming to that, but the question is, can Azimio change leadership without unanimous consent? And what is going to be the next course of action? Finally, Kenyans stare at death. That is on the front page of the Standard. Kenyans stare at death. There is a case of starvation because the drought has hit some parts of the northern part of the country, as millions across the country scrap leaves from trees and watch their livestock die. Children abandon school to forage. Mothers go without meals, and communities edge towards collapse. Power feasts in Nairobi. In State House meetings presided over by President, millions exchange hands, and opulence is broadcast for all and sundry. Calls to declare the drought a national disaster fall on deaf ears, with interventions from government haphazard to reaching the affected. That's on the front page of the local daily. So, okay, let's come back to the main discussion here. From what you can see, divided orange. Oscar, this was inevitable, immediately after the death of Honorable Raila Odinga. But the question is, are we trying to see what the late Raila Odinga tried to stop?
Yeah, Chino Achebe wrote that when the center cannot hold, things fall apart. Center was Raila Amolo Odinga. It was a glue that put together ODM for many years. And when you have wings that are attached together using wax, don't fly very close to the sun, you will fall. Now, what I'm saying is that when ODM goes to, because there was no succession politics, there was no succession politics during Raila Odinga's time. You see, when there's a succession politics,
yes,
it goes without saying, people know who is second in command, who is third in command, and people don't jump ship. For example, for what is happening today in ODM, those are probably just empty threats. You cannot kick out the section, because one thing, after our 2010 constitution, we removed management of political parties from the internal messes within the political party, but it is mostly managed by ORP, the Register of Political Parties.
Yes.
That is where these things can be sorted out. And it's been a problem for many, many parties trying to kick out people. Like the problem also in Azimio. Azimio is registered, still the party leader of Azimio as registered is Raila Amolo Odinga, although he's now deceased. But he has to be replaced. But now, there must be rules of how do we replace. Do you replace a leader who is dead through a formal letter, or do you do an NDC, or do you put the governing council together so that at least there are members who sat down and discussed and decided to replace. There must be rules and regulations of how some of the things are being done. And even management of political parties. Some of the things you can go to Kilifi and make pronouncements that we are going to kick out the ACG. It's not as easy as that, because those entities belong to the taxpayers. The taxpayer is a government entity. ODM and all political parties are sponsored by money from the exchequer, from government, and managed by registered political parties. Long time before the Constitution, we didn't have that one. They were not sponsored by, they were not funded by government. But so long as it's funded by government, even selling Orange House, you can't sell it now. How do you sell it? Because it is not your money. not just members' money. It is part of the money. It belongs to government. It's funded by government. So the Audit General also have to check how that money is used so long as allocated to that party. Management of that party, a lot of it is done by the legislative political party. So these changes are not very easy. Sometimes if you just make those changes, they must be ratified by the legislative political parties so that they can be gazetted again. It's a long process. If there's a court dispute, they'll have to wait. There's internal party tribunals that deal with all those things.
Yeah.
If you go to ORP, the legislative political party, they have their own internal tribunal for this political party. But only after you've exhausted the internal tribunal of the political party. We also have the tribunal court that deals with political parties tribunals. You need to go to court also to make sure that that tribunal, but also that court does not accept any issue from the political party.
Okay.
Unless the tribunal of the internal tribunal of the political party, somebody should go through disciplinary.
There is a NEC meeting today. Who wants Sifuna out and why? That is a question. Who wants Sifuna out and why?
The reason why they would want Sifuna out is because that way.
Let's start with who first.
I mean, you know, we have now factions within ODM.
Yeah.
We have the Linda Mwananchi and we have the Linda Ground. They're already divided. And now I'm told there's another one called Linda Comrade. So they're already divided. So they're different functions. This was how have happened before. You know, even in Ford, when it was breaking down, we ended up with Ford Asili and Ford Kenya at one time. Yes. And this one happens in political parties. There's KANU A and sometimes KANU B. And so will tell you even when he was running NAT, sometimes those functions are always there. When they have this function and they have this function. And sometimes there are no, somebody, at some level, people even go and pronounce themselves as leaders.
Yeah.
Who are not the jure leaders. They're not legally elected, but they're de facto leaders within different functions. Because now the leadership is divided. So whoever wants Sifuna out are the people whom you will see in Kilifi, probably. And with the people who are going to Kilifi, who are going to support Sifuna. For example, I think somebody who is the organizing secretary, is it the organizing secretary or the deputy, Ruth Odinga, she is a big supporter of Sifuna, as you get me right. And I think even Oburu Odinga himself would not want to see Sifuna out of the party.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them want him to toe line, but some of them feel that, oh no, it's enough, now you have to go. Because they want to be part and parcel of government, they're supporting the project arrangement.
Mwalimu, that could be the beginning of the real crack in the orange.
But before I talk about the orange, there was the issue of senators and governors.
Okay. Yeah, you can pick it up.
It is of great national importance. I congratulate the Senate. In recent times, we've seen them carry out thorough public scrutiny of the audit queries from the Comptroller and Auditor General. I think what the general public should know is that what senators are doing and the Senate generally is to interrogate the queries of the Comptroller and Auditor General on misappropriation and abuse of resources by the governors. And governors to come out and threaten not to appear in committees because of alleged bribery. You know, in bribery, there must be a giver and the receiver. So governors are admitting that they've been giving out money to be received. That is what I ordinarily perceive. So I think this is not an easy thing for the country, and it's an indicator of breakdown of systems in devolution and in governance. And it may be responsible for the biting poverty at the grassroots. If really devolution is not working, and there is abuse of resources, as pointed out by the report of control of the auditor, Comptroller and Auditor General. So senators should crack their whip without exception. And I think governors should then be criminalized for all these audit queries. If you don't appear to defend your audit queries, then you should become an outright criminal who should go to jail. Otherwise, if we are going to engage in academic conversation and political conversation with very serious matters, that has got to do with poor Kenyans at the devolved units when we are not doing justice to this country. And 16 years or 13 years down the line in devolution, if governors are doing what they are doing with the opulence and with the stubbornness that we are seeing, then we are headed nowhere with devolution. With the ODM is still looking for its own equilibrium. It has undergone isostatic readjustment. The tectonic plates are shaking at the exit of their leader. And if they've convened internal organ meetings, then I believe those internal organs will be able to address the differences that we see them playing out in public here, that they're able to exhaustively address within their organs. And I want to believe the internal democracies of parties should be able to work, because the parties are instruments of the people of Kenya. They are not private properties of individuals. And so, being the instruments of the people of Kenya, it should be ready to bite the bullet and embrace internal democracy and thrash out their differences. And those who disagree with the positions of the parties, you ship out of a party. If you don't agree with a party, you ship out. Those are standard rules. So it's not something that really you have to massage. And what we are seeing are selfish personal interest and angling for position that is likely to split ODM. So I believe they should be able to take all those, their selfish interest, their personal interest, to the table. And nobody can whitewash the broad-based commitment and arrangement by the departed party leader Raila Odinga with the president. There is that agreement, it is in place, and already ODM is part of the government of the Republic of Kenya. ODM has 5 ministers. Who doesn't know that? Everybody knows. 5 ministers from ODM. There are 17 permanent secretaries from ODM. And Raila Odinga said in 2027 we will be vindicated, and going beyond 2027 we will be stronger. So the message of Raila was that ODM engages in a coalition with the Kenya Kwanza. And I think Oburu Odinga is providing the right leadership. And I think those with other selfish personal interests are trying to think otherwise, but then deal with it at the party organ.
We take a break. It's 7:30. When you come back, we still have around 30 minutes to discuss about this, because after that meeting, that is going to be held in Mombasa, it's going to form the basis of how the Orange Party is going to move. You know, Sifuna has been raising a lot of questions when it comes to the 10-point agenda. You know, time is coming to an end. So let's wait and see how it's going to be. More of this discussion coming shortly after this. Stay with us.
Don't move! This isn't over yet. That's enough of you. Let go of me! You deaf? I said let go! I'm telling you, I can destroy you with my phone.
Jason, come on! Let go!
Just try.
I put up with you for months.
Oh, well, we're so sorry.
That's not good enough! Look at my car, look at what he did!
So sorry.
What kind of hotel is this?
You're right.
You here to scam us? What do you think this is?
That's enough!
All right, hurry up! Hurry up!
Send help!
Halo, halo, nimekuja na tangazo.
Hapo tu. Sitaki kusikia.
Hii ni moto. This is how we do. Yeah, chill, lay back, straight, stunting. Yeah, we do it like that. Rocky Motos.
Jinsi ambavyo binadamu anahitaji lishe bora kwa ajili ya kukua vizuri, basi ndio hivyo kwa mifugo wako. Wanahitaji chakula bora, sio tu chakula. Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tunaangazia June Cow, lishe kwa ng'ombe wako.
Hii nyasi inakuliwa na wanyama wote. Sungura, nguruwe, ng'ombe, mbuzi, kondoo, hata pia kuku. Protein yake iko between 16 and 18%. Ni kama kulisha na dairy milk. Kila siku.
Ungana nasi kila Jumamosi saa 10:30 hapa KBC Channel 1 kwa mseto kamili wa kilimo.
And welcome back. If you're just joining us, Engineer Crispus Wathimba, political analyst, joined me on set. Wilson Sosion, veteran unionist and educator, also on set, as well as Oscar Mondi, political and governance expert. He's also a university lecturer. Gentlemen, we are here. Now, there's been a lot of noise, more so in the Orange Party. But Crispus, once this is done, let's just hypothetically speaking, a day after this resolution will be done today. So what are we expecting from tomorrow?
Definitely.
I think it should be, maybe, could it be so soon to predict?
Definitely agreeing with what Oscar said. When the center fails to hold, things fall apart.
Yeah.
Probably the only option the party has is to look for a new center. And if that center is not with Sifuna or Uburu Odinga or any other faction, then there'll be no party. So the party has an existential threat where it needs to find a new center. And if that center means a coalition with UDA will give it the relevance it requires to continue existing as a party, then the party delegates must have to make a very difficult decision. And that's why it's important that the conversations that will happen today, overall, there has to be bringing together of members of the party to make an important decision on the way forward of the party. The National Delegates Convention of that party is unavoidable. Now, whoever will control the conversation in that NDC will now be able to shape how the center looks like in future. But as we are speaking today, the center is not holding. The party is about to fall. You've seen the rally that ODM led by Sifuna held in Busia. We have seen how the Linda Ground movement is moving forward. Money is being poured. Factions are taking hardline positions. But there has to be a point where if we have to retain this party as it were for the last 20 years, then somebody has to leave that party and the others have to remain. Yes.
What if somebody doesn't leave the party?
The party will break down.
Because even before the demise of Raila Odinga, the party was still intact with the current officials.
The party has to find a center, and Raila was that center. So who is that center that can continue holding the party despite the divergent views that continue to exist? When there were divergent views with Raila, he was able to bring people together and they would reason. Right now, it seems the Uburu is failing to do that. Sifuna is taking a hardline position. Orengo is taking a hardline position. Glad is taking a hard position. Even the ministers who are in government, who are part of ODM, are also trying to take a position because they know 2027, they need a party to work with. Joining government or outside government. So there has to be a center. Yes.
Oscar, there has to be a center. And perhaps, that center can only be found if there is a consensus.
Yes.
They have been calling about the convention of NDC. And, NDC, that's where a lot of discussion takes place and ratification of the party, communication and decisions is made. But then now, this one is going to be that last stroker that's going to break the camel's back.
Yeah, you see, today there's a meeting, the next meeting. I don't think so, that the Secretary and this other, and the Sotsi and the other chairman will be able to attend because of probably they will feel not wanted. The last time we had the same in Kilifi, the next meeting that was in NDC meeting that was in Kilifi, they did not attend. Now I don't know if today they will attend. Most likely they will not attend. After that next meeting, they have a number of rallies and delegates meetings that they're going to do in Kilifi, in Kwale, and in Mombasa, in 3 counties, until Friday. The schedule is very, very tight. I don't know how the party leader will going to make it to do all those meetings. The schedule is very, very tight. On Saturday, Linda Mwananchi ODM, led by Sifuna and Lorengo, have a meeting, a public rally in Kilifi. After these guys are finished on Friday. These guys are finishing on Friday, then on Saturday, there's a Linda Mwananchi meeting in Kilifi by Lorengo and Sifuna's group. So it's all system go. The difference, the divide is so clear, and now people, as he says, have taken rigid positions. Secondly, issue of one of the things that they're saying they're going to discuss is how to do cooperation or work with UDA. Legally, ODM is a member of Azimio Coalition. As we speak now, ODM has not come out of Azimio Coalition.
Yes.
It's a member. According to our rules, a party cannot be in 2 coalitions at the same time.
Yeah.
You cannot be a member of Azimio and at the same time you're a member of Kenya Kwanza. So somebody has to give way, because there are people who want to be in coalition with Kenya Kwanza through a coalition with UDA. And there are people who are, but legally they're still members of the Azimio. So there must be an organization so that within the time they have to come out of Azimio first. Because somebody will go to court and say, you cannot be members of 2 coalitions at the same time.
Yeah.
You cannot ratify being a coalition with UDA and Kenya Kwanza while you are still holding your position in Azimio. You can't do that. Second, legally, the Secretary General for Azimio is Junet Mohammed, although they want to change it to Karoli Omondi now. But Junet Mohammed is the substantive Secretary General of Azimio, who is a member of the Kenya Linda Grounds. And now Sifuna might be sympathetic to the Azimio Coalition, because the people whom they were within, some of them are sympathetic to the Azimio Coalition. So we have a tickling time bomb within the party. And it is very difficult. And again, you know, when there's conflict, what is conflict? Conflict is when people have incompatible values, that you believe in this and I believe in this. But there comes a time in second degree of conflict where people take rigid positions. And when people take rigid positions, now they start calling each other's names. Mamlukis and terrorists and who are you and blah, blah, blah. And then after that, they go into direct conflicts. People use even guns now, and people use, so because now it is getting out of hand. One of the reasons why Sifuna and team might not attend the Kilifi meeting, because they feared of the fear of being probably some other team will come with guns. You can be hurt in such a situation. You get me right? And it has happened. It has happened before when goons come to invade even the NDC, you know, men in black and all this type of things. And now people also care about their lives also. So it becomes very difficult. That at that level, it's conflict in its direct position. And that is where they're heading to. And coming out of this will be what we witnessed after the death of Jaramogi. We ended up with another group of Fort Kenya, and Raila Odinga, you know, had to leave and go and form NDP because he had different oppositions from what Wamalwa had, who was the vice chairman then.
Yes.
So this is just history repeating itself. There's nothing new on planet Earth. It will go like that. The only problem is that the person who holds it to the last minute, the first one to blink, somebody will have to leave. Number 3, issue of zoning. I think which has a problem also with the ODM Linda Wananchi is that UDA also called their aspirants to State House last week. Among the aspirants that were called to State House, from Siaya County, for example, we had 92 people who want to contest on UDA ticket. So that means that they're also doing their groundwork there. So it's a problem because even to the president feels that, oh, waiting for ODM to organize itself might also injure me as a president. Yeah, you get me right? Because he really wants a united ODM to help him achieve whatever is achieved. But again, he must also be very sure and say, can I really have time to wait for ODM to organize itself? And the president, I think, might decide, let me go to the ground, talk to the people of Nyanza as an individual and see what I can get from there.
ODM is a national party.
ODM is a national party. It's a national party, but now, you see, when they talk about zoning, they're saying where the party has the best
Great. Mwalimu, look at it this way. You've been a member of ODM sometimes in the past, right?
I was nominated.
Not sometimes in the past.
Exactly.
I was a member for the longest.
All right. Now, when you see such happens, what do you think is now running through the minds of electorates, number one, ODM supporters nationally speaking, and now we have got different factions. Probably we have now Linda Nchi, Linda Ground, and another one, Linda Comrade. All these factions are happening, and we are likely to see a lot of traction taking place moving forward. What does that really mean to you, dear?
The most important thing is where Raila Odinga left the party and the position of the party at the time when Raila left. And I think that is where most members will look at. And Raila Odinga left ODM in broad-based government. The Orengos and the Sifunas were not as bold as they are now. They were not.
Why?
They were not, because
why are they bold
because
right
now? In the absence of Raila, they are now emboldened. That's a fact. But the truth of the matter is that ODM has okayed negotiations for a coalition with UDA. That's the biggest development, and let's not lose sight of that. And the president is very keen to see a coalition with ODM, because there's already broad-based in place. I've told you there are 5 ministers.
Which ODM?
There are 5 ministers. The ODM legitimate with a party leader called Oburu Odinga. That is ODM. Anything else is just but a joke. So the coalition, the broad-based, already has 5 ministers, 17 PSs, and the rest, so that nominally ODM is in broad-based and with Kenya Kwanza. The only thing that needs to be legitimized is a coalition, and I believe that will be the key thing in the NEC. It may not even be of agenda on Sifuna and the other team. They can as well do whatever they are doing. But what is key is a structured coalition framework with UDA. That is what the followers of ODM,
but what
that is what the supporters of ODM will respect.
Okay. So what is important?
And you know the game is over.
What is important?
The game is over.
Party, unity of the party, or coalition? Why are people so much into coalition with UDA but not strength of ODM as a party? But even ODM is already
now the issue here.
Okay.
That's a question to me. If there is a move to have a coalition, these are 2 distinct parties negotiating a framework of a coalition. It is negotiated.
Yes.
And is provided for in law. And this does not mean that one of the parties is weak or disorganized or whatever. No, all those are perception and politics. And these are the groups we are seeing trying to pursue, trying to pull in the opposite direction, and is wrong. It's trying to present the wrong picture. The key thing here, the most significant development, is a working coalition between Kenya Kwanza and ODM. And that one is not if, but it is when. Because already the precursor to it is a broad-based government. Who is the Minister for Finance in this country is John Badi, the former chairman of ODM and a member of ODM for that matter. And I can go on to name the other ministers. So that the top, the who and who in ODM are in the cabinet. So that then the only progress that ODM needs to make is to enter into a signed agreement and structured framework of a pre-election with the Kenya Kwanza team, Kenya Kwanza formation, because Kenya Kwanza has got Ford Kenya, it has very many other parties, but with UDA. So that is a political fact, political development, and it is not that the president will go and deal directly with the voters at the grassroots, bypassing ODM. He will not do that. The president respects the parties that he has signed agreement with, and even the jurisdiction. Because we came from the by-elections. And you see, yes, UDA did not field candidates in Ugenya, in Kasipul, and in Magarini. It did not. It supported ODM. Okay. And ODM did not field candidates in Malava, in Bere, and in Banisa.
Thank you.
So already,
Oscar, when you look at
direction has been shown.
I know what happens. When you look at the Daily Nation there, what does it say? Uhuru Kenyatta, there's something about Uhuru Kenyatta?
Uhuru Kenyatta?
No, I think it's on the front page.
The front page is ODM crisis talks after Uhuru Azimio move.
Okay.
Uhuru's Azimio move. Yes. That means that they've gone to wake up Azimio. And they know whatever association is talking about of this coalition. I've told you by law, you're not allowed to belong to two coalitions at the same time.
Yes.
ODM is already a member of the Azimio coalition. So the process starts like this.
So Azimio is resuscitated.
It's resuscitated.
It's back to life.
Yes.
We have got 2 or 3 different factions in ODM.
Yes.
Which one is going to go to each faction and which is going to remain with UDA? That's the question.
The one of, you see, even what Sosion talk about, I ask, which ODM are you talking about? He's talking about legitimate ODM. The legitimate ODM, the party leader is, according to, is Oburu Odinga, and the party secretary general is Sifuna. So that is the legitimate ODM.
Yes.
But again, the functions are that Sifuna is Linda Mwananchi and Oburu is Linda Ground. Those are the functions. De facto. De facto means that not by law. De jure means by law, this is what is going to take place. So the coalitions are there, and ODM is a member of Azimio coalition as we speak now. We might talk about this politics and as it talks about, but the reality is, in paper, ODM is a member of the Azimio coalition.
So who wants the legitimate ODM? Azimio or UDA?
UDA is not in a coalition with ODM.
Not
and
yet.
Raila,
Not
and again what Susian is saying,
yes,
that these guys were not speaking out when Raila was there. That is not true. Orengo, Sifuna, and these guys were talking, and Raila used to say, Orengo and Sifuna are talking the language of the party.
They were mumbling.
Number three,
they were mumbling.
Number 3, what he's talking about that ODM is where Raila left it at broad-based. These are the young people who are agitating, who have a lot of energy, are saying 4 months down the line, Raila Odinga died. They have to have a move, they have to make decisions. Even what Winnie was talking about in Mombasa at that time, he said that the person who actually was in charge of this arrangement was Raila Odinga himself. In his demise, people need to sit down and counter-check again where do you want to move?
Okay.
The young people are saying, some of them want to go to Azimio, some of them want to go to UDA.
Let me ask you, Crispus, do you remember one day Raila Odinga said that Raila Odinga, probably we cannot get it right now, but he said that Raila Odinga might not be here today, but ODM will live thereafter, even after Raila Odinga. You remember that statement? Perhaps it was in some convention he had a meeting with ODM members. But that is not coming to pass. The split is here right immediately after his demise.
It's quite unfortunate that he had a very strong desire for the party to continue existing even beyond him. But while he was the party leader, he did not build a succession plan for the party. That is where the problem is. Because all these issues were obviously glaring to him, and probably he was confused. Who should I bless as my heir to this party? And who should I not? And if I do choose one person over the other, what will happen to the party? Probably the party will collapse under my leadership. So he chose not to go to that path. But unfortunately, leaving that issue unattended to has now brought in very serious consequences, where the party is in the has a possibility of being hijacked by Kenya Kwanza, as it appears, or being saved by Sifuna and Orengo, who are now clearly showing that they are the real believers of the values and principles of ODM. They are not being driven by the desire to hold on to power at the expense of abandoning the legitimate cause of ODM.
Who wants ODM stable between all these factions? Who really wants ODM to survive in its original form?
Orengo, Sifuna, Babu want to retain the true spirit of ODM. Whether that spirit is in a government or not, but it remains a sacred ODM as it was founded 20 years ago. But there are those people who have now gone to government and they have tasted power. You know, ODM was created 20 years ago to capture power, but it has never captured legitimate power where an ODM president is running this country. ODM has always found itself in government through handshakes, broad-based, some form of arrangement. But where it has power and makes decisions on its own, it has never been. But now they have been able to join government through a broad-based arrangement where they've been able to exercise some sort of power. And now they are saying, this thing is very sweet. We cannot abandon it just because we want to remain as ODM as we were 20 years ago. So they are saying we need to coalesce with the UDA. And it means they will have to divorce themselves from Azimio. So probably some of the discussion that will happen in the next today will be about divorcing from Azimio and now preparing themselves to join form another coalition of UDA, ODM for 2027. So Sifuna might be just somebody we are looking at here, but the bigger issue we need to discuss is the future of ODM in Azimio and of future of ODM with UDA.
Yeah. Well, I want to give you just 2 minutes.
We get back
2 minutes,
to some
if you can
history.
kindly. Yes.
Some history, just to paraphrase. I like the idea of ODM when it was formed 20 years was to capture power. And ODM would be very happy to see one of their own in power. If you examine ODM 20 years ago.
In power or capture power?
Yes, in power. Yeah. If you look at ODM 20 years ago, who are the members of Pentagon? William Ruto. Who is now the president? Who else was a member of ODM? Musalia Mudavadi, who is now the prime cabinet secretary. So the mission has been achieved. And the fact is, you can't deny an historical fact that President William Ruto is a founder member of ODM. That's a fact. Many of us were in ODM. For some reason, people parted ways. But the broad-based arrangement was a reunion of the original ODM itself. And it's agreed that it is working, it is the best. Those top party leaders who have joined the broad-based and their respective constituencies are also showing very strong indications that they are satisfied with this arrangement. So the only thing that needs to be done is to legitimize a coalition to fulfill the requirements of the law, despite ODM having their own original member as the President of the Republic, despite ODM having one of the original members as Prime Cabinet Secretary. And that is how nature has favored ODM over the years. So really, those are fundamental facts that you cannot push them away. And simply because of trying to glorify ODM to remain in a radical corner and in oppositionist agenda and getting out of government, I don't think that was the intention of creation of ODM. Even many of us who were fanatical in ODM in 2007. Because Victor, Victor.
No, we are running out of time.
In 2007, 2007, even the entire Rift Valley was a bedrock.
I want to ask you a question. So what happens next to the likes of Sifuna if he's kicked out? Just briefly.
You know, political space is very unfair. It is fair and unfair. It is the rule of the jungle operates. The weak will be edged out, and that is how things work. And you'll know that you are weak when you get to the ballot in 2027. They may not know now, but 2027. It will show. This was seen in the by-election. Victor, this was seen in the by-election. ODM swept all the seats in the original bedroom.
Okay.
And UDA swept all the seats in the rest of the country.
I'm doing political analysis. If I was to advise people who think like the Sosion and the president, for example, this is from a hostile takeover. A hostile takeover will not work with our current constitution, with our current legal and protection, with our political party. A hostile takeover is not going to work out. The week that are going to be aged out, I'm promising you, probably Oburu might be aged out, Oburu's team. That could be the week. You say it's the rule of the jungle, the weak versus the strong. I'm telling you from today, they're going to do rallies. What the ODM Linda ground, the Wangan group and team needs is energy. The other side has that energy, and you will see it on Saturday. So a hostile takeover might not help the president. I don't know if the UDA and the presidency and the coalition, I don't think, by saying that they will be edged out, edging them out might not really work so easily for them. Unless the system in UDA will want a divided ODM so that they get their own space there, which I suspect could be the case also. But I think a united ODM, from what my colleague is talking about, that there's a team that wants an ODM that goes for power even in 2032. There's a futuristic thinking who are seeing 2032 and 2042. And there are people who are seeing contemporary, let's eat what we can get now, and then forget about it. Okay, Christmas, it's going to be tough.
Well, for me, I would say there was an attempt to wrestle Jubilee from Uhuru Kenyatta at the beginning of this administration.
It's been a court battle back and forth
and they failed. I am hopeful that that attempt on ODM will also fail. We need ODM as an independent party which is able to check this government and any other government where they are not in power.
Okay. I promise to do this again next week. We know how to do it. It's exactly 8 sharp. The director is so tough on me today. Christmas for but thank you so much.
Oh,
I know what's right. I know. I know. Okay, let me start with him.
Saying we must have ODM that can check government. Are you suggesting that ODM is perpetually condemned to remain an opposition party? No. It will be part of government in the grand coalition that is coming before 2027.
Thank you.
This space will be here.
What's your name, sir? What's your name, sir?
My name is Wilson Sosia.
Title?
Lifetime member of ODM.
Distinguished trade unionist.
Exactly. Veteran. And Oscar Modi, who is a political and governance expert, is also a university don. Today he lost his son, engineer Christmas. Today is
Thank you.
So quite. It's New Year. It's New Year. Thank you so much for watching. Let's take a break. GMK continues for this. Good morning.
Tumaini hawezi mkubali mtoto asiyekuwa wake, na ndio maana nakuhitaji.
Hapo awali mimi nilimjua mke wangu, lakini nimempoteza.
Mimi sitaki mtoto kutoka kwa baba yako. Wasikia? Na kama wataka wakili wangu mwanike wakili wako, atafanya hivyo.
Niondokee, utashanga saizi. Hii si nyumba yako.
Leo ni wewe ndio utajitetea ama bado uko na ule
woza kama kawa. Ako heri atakuja tusaidie kuna wakili.
Wewe si mkoti.
Sorry. Pow. Is he your boyfriend?
No.
Thank you very much. Why are you there?
Where?
To that scene when that scene was going on. Unaongeza nini? Kwa hivyo hujamaliza masomo? Masomo si mimi nilimaliza ndio nafanya kazi kama library. Just agree with me, please. Hujamaliza. Are we together? We are not together. We are together. Don't usipishane na mimi. Are we together? Ulipeana kwa nini ulimpatia? Nakwambia. Yeye ndiye alinipatia. Kwa nini? Shut up now, Mara. I'm coming. Why did you choose that guy instead of choosing me?
Kenya is playing her part by hosting two exemplary and exceptional Olympians in Kenya who are using their legacy to actually empower girls through sports.
I believe education is powerful, and I think the more women can learn and empower themselves, that was my first really big milestone.
Education was priority, and then your athletic pursuits were going to have to come in second place.
The girls' capacity in this country is limitless. They can be absolute change makers. And I think believing in themselves, using the communities around them, and lifting each other up.
If you're driven and you have a belief in yourself and you know or are curious about a direction, keep pushing, keep driving, because you will find the people who want to support that.
I will stay by your side. Her love so beautiful. My love shines throughout the world. Take my breath left to cry. I've been too long in the wind, too long in the rain. Oh, Daniel, my brother, you are. When I was walking in Memphis, I was walking with my feet 10 feet off a beat.
She's called Pastor Lillian Nyongesa Nabuleje.
Dream of every woman. Pastor Richard Nyongesa. First, we've met as ministers. We were serving together. Then he was a married man. I was in another relationship. The wife then passed on.
I didn't have sleep. I had a voice. You marry this lady or you die.
What? I opened up about my past just to scare him. I'm like, I'm barren, you know. But God, of a second chance, gave us the twins.
I don't regret getting Lillian. She has made me a man.
Ipa imani kila siku kuchapo.
Many thanks for joining us right here on KBC Channel 1. My name is Mike Migu. We're still watching Good Morning Kenya. Now, away from politics, we look at matters, education. And today we are looking at how we can understand the CBE transition and the pathways therein. And in studio, I'm joined by Mark Anderson, who is the founder and principal Core Academy. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya.
Good morning, Mike. Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Karibu sana. And also Catherine Mwathani, who is a coordinator at Core Academy. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Yes.
Thanks for having us.
Let's get right into it. You look at CBE, Mark, and from your own perspective, do you think really Kenyans do understand what it's all about?
It's a really important question, Mike. When we think about a shift like this, it's a very significant shift for the education sector in Kenya. And with significant shifts, there always comes confusion, misunderstanding, and I think getting the parents on board and getting the schools on board to help them really understand what is this, what is the new curriculum built around, what's its philosophy, what's its implementation going to be, I think is really critical. And so I think people are probably at various stages of understanding. Some people probably understand a lot about it, and some people are probably in the dark and quite fearful about the change. And so the more we understand it and unpack it, I think the better for everyone.
Catherine, how do you think it should be approached so that everybody is on the same page when it comes to understanding what the CBE is all about?
That's a very good question, Mike, and I think it should start from who are the providers of this CBC curriculum. Do we all understand it as educators, as teachers? So is there relevant, continuous education for first the people in the industry? And then moving from there, it's also having forums like this to just educate parents to really understand what exactly are we doing when it comes to education. When we say it's project-based, what does that mean? How does it involve a parent? And how will they be required to support the process as we transition? So I guess it's an all-round involvement from the Ministry of Education, involving the teachers and parents, everybody on board.
Like all the stakeholders.
Exactly, yeah.
Very important. And Mark, when you look at CBE and 844, the comparison, what do you think CBE is, what do you think is the problem that it's coming to solve that the 844 failed to achieve?
Yeah, that's a very important question because that's why it's here. We have to understand what the purpose is. And educationally, its philosophy is very sound. When we look at the significant differences between the CBE and the old system, what we're moving towards is something that's a lot more based on outcomes that are rooted in soft skills. So skills development, particularly from the younger grades, less siloing of subjects, and less of a focus on content memorization and more of a focus on, do I really understand the content and can I apply it to the real world around me? That's a critical skill for our young people today. And the old systems of education, if we look globally, not just in Kenya, if we look over the last 40, 50 years, our global systems of education have lent towards very narrow tracks for our students to follow, where from a young age, they're working on limited content and they're memorizing a lot of information. That was critical before the internet, right? Before we could search something on Google, we had to memorize it and remember it and repeat it. Now, what's much more important is, what do we do with the information? How do I use it? How do I apply it? And so those skills are much more important. So we've seen this shift in several countries towards something that's a little bit more competency-based rather than memorization-based.
Still, when you look at CBE and other systems of education, like the British system of education, are there similarities or stark differences between the two systems?
So in terms of educational philosophy, very similar. When we look at how things are implemented, if you start digging into the curriculum documentation, there are going to be differences. There are significant differences in any curriculum that you look at from any country around the world. But if I look at what's happening, not just in the UK, but in Southern Africa, in Southeast Asia, to a certain degree in the West, we see a shift towards this sort of thinking where understanding and application is valued much higher. And so at the heart of it, it's actually very similar to the UK system in terms of what it prioritizes and values for our students.
You know, when you look at CBC, Catherine, and on paper it does feel very good, but when you look at implementation, what do you think how can we overcome the challenges that we have seen, especially when you look at the transition to senior school?
Yeah, I think one of the main challenges and that has currently happened is, as we've seen, students graduating from grade 9 to 10 and just wondering where to go, and that has been maybe a little bit shake up in the industry on where to go. And I think that if we as Ministry of Education, if we are able to handle this, if it will be a greater support for parents to know, do we have enough facilities to handle the students that are moving towards senior school or high school? Or do we have enough support? Do we have enough equipment to support the different pathways? So I guess that will be one of the ways that this can be supported, so that at least is able to at least all children are able to get education, because at least education, every child should be able to access education in this country. So if that is handled well, then the transition will be smooth. For new things, as new things happen, definitely there will be shake-ups, and I think it's okay to have these shake-ups, because during these shake-ups then we get to know what are we meant to do. And this being our first lot of students also transitioning to grade 10, it has helped the education industry or sector to just know what exactly, how do we need to prepare next before the next students move up, how do we need to, so mainly just understanding what is happening on the ground and being able to meet the challenges.
So actually whatever we have witnessed will be a very good springboard to launch changes that will deal with the problems that we have seen.
Exactly.
Now, you know, Mark, you look at the system, it's anchored on competencies. We are talking about communication, soft skills, collaboration, critical thinking, and by extension, problem solving. How do you see that being embedded in all learning areas?
Yeah, this is a very tricky thing to tackle in real life. The reason that it's so important is because we've come to realize more and more that soft skills are really the drivers of success in the real world. You know, you've got hard skills, which are methods or steps that you learn to solve particular problems. So long division is a good example of a hard skill. I learn where to put the numbers and how to divide. Changing the tire on my car is a hard skill. I learn the steps that I need to take to replace the flat. Soft skills, on the other hand, we're talking about very nuanced skills that often relate to people or information, like critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, the ones that you've mentioned that the CBE really emphasizes as being important. We've always known that soft skills are critical, but they're more important now than ever. You think about the world that our kids are growing up in, it's changing faster than ever. And what's going to help them succeed in the long run, whatever industry or career they go into, is whether they're able to think critically, problem solve, collaborate with each other, communicate their thoughts effectively. Hard skills are still important. You know, when I climb on a plane, I don't want my pilot Googling how to take off the plane on the runway. But when it comes to that pilot's long-term success in life, that's actually going to be driven by soft skills. And so that's why the system emphasizes those. The tricky part with that is it's much easier to teach long division than it is to teach creativity and communication. Soft skills are only learned through practice, reflection, and repetition. I get to try it, I get to think about it, I get to talk about it, and then I get to try it again. That's how we improve our soft skills. And that's very difficult to implement practically in a classroom. And even more importantly, it's very difficult to assess in a classroom. How do you test creativity? How do you test collaboration? And so when you spoke just now about implementation risks, Catherine spoke wonderfully from the perspective of a parent, as somebody whose own children have gone through the system. And from my perspective as a principal, I look at the implementation risks as being more about how do we prepare our staff for this? As a principal, how do I take an academic faculty of 50, 60 teachers and change their thinking around what we're testing, what we're teaching, how we're testing it, how we're teaching it?
Which now brings the aspect of retooling.
Yes, absolutely. And so all of that plays into what's going to come down to how well are we preparing our schools and their leaderships to be able to implement those sorts of things. And professional development is going to be key. And there's going to be some teething problems along the way. There always will be. It's a big ship that has to turn. And when a big ship turns, it takes time. But it's an important course to set.
Catherine, you look at on the system, there's now an enhanced, so to speak, presence or involvement of parents. Why is that important?
A very good question that maybe some of us parents would like to run away from. But I think, I like the old saying, a child is formed by a village.
Yes, it takes a village.
Yes, it takes a village to raise a child. And exactly that is what I think is coming into shape, because we do not only want teachers to be the sayers in how a child grows up, but also the parents. And we are just stewards as parents, so we need to be involved in every bit of it. I know we are busy,
as parents, but again, we also should be involved in how is my child growing. We should be the first ones, actually, even before the school recognizes what's happening to my child. I should be the first one who should have observed that. And I think CBC is drawing parents to be partners in this journey as we mold our children. Yes, we may have students who go to day schools, others to boarding schools, but in a way, CBC is trying to involve parents to come on board and own this education journey for our children together. And I think it's an amazing way of raising our generation, because if a teacher who is handling my children during the day is able to let me know how the day was, then I'm also able to let them know maybe what my child is going through, and I'm able to support my child with all the required materials. Then I guess we are building a generation that will be powerful. Yeah.
That is very important, because, Mark, they are the pathways, and these are the areas that a student may bank on to propel them to the career that they want to take in higher learning. How do you see the parent perspective shaping that going forward?
Yes, Mike, if you think from the parent's perspective, we grew up in a world that was very linear. So if I'm 12 years old and I want to be an engineer one day, I start studying maths and physical science, chemistry, physics, and I follow that very tight linear pathway to university. And when I get to university, they say, what did you do in high school? And I say, I did maths and physical science and chemistry. And they say, great, you can do engineering. And then I become an engineer, and then I'm an engineer for 40 years. What's happening now is that we're seeing people's pathways in careers being more dynamic. So you think about somebody who graduates as an engineer. I have a friend who graduated as an engineer, worked for 10 years, became a senior engineer, and now he's working for the city municipality. Not as an engineer, but as an advisor for a team that's got an IT person and somebody who's actually from the arts and somebody who's from the social sciences. And we're seeing teams in the real world that are a lot more cross-dimensional, cross-disciplinary, that are collaborating together to solve problems, because we're realizing our real world problems are dynamic. They're not just engineering problems. They're not just art problems. So if we backtrack that to high school and junior school, and we think, what is the CBE trying to do? We used to have very siloed subjects, very narrow subject bands. And so you would walk out of geography class and you would walk into chemistry class, and you would walk out of chemistry into maths. And what we're trying to do with CBE now is say, well, let's group together like-minded subjects so that we can have more cross-pollination. And so you've got arts and sports together, and you've got the STEM subjects together. So in STEM, you've got science and technology and engineering and arts and maths, all speaking to each other and working together. And so the teacher is able to bring in much more real-world examples of what we're going to face in careers one day. And what you find is that students who, when they were 12, used to think, I'm going to be an engineer, they start realizing, hey, hang on, I think I actually might want to go a different route, but they're not locked into that singular pathway.
So actually, from what you're saying, it's opening up the students' mind into looking at the possibilities.
Absolutely. It's giving them more exposure to the fact that the world is dynamic rather than narrow and linear. And it's also giving them an opportunity to test things out and try. I mean, I changed majors when I got to university. I was very convinced on what I was going to do, and I changed tracks.
Yes.
And it's a wonderful opportunity for our students to be exposed to more things, even up through high school. And I think universities are realizing that as well. Yes. And so if you look at what a university is looking for now, 20 years ago, they wanted top marks in specific subjects.
Yes.
Now they still want top marks, don't get me wrong. Top marks are still very important. But what universities are becoming more and more interested in is, who are you? What type of student are you? Are you the type of student that we want at our university? And again, that's a soft skills question, not so much a hard skills question.
Very important. Looking at junior school, because now we have junior school, this is where humanities, sciences, life skills, creative arts are introduced. What do you think is the goal? Is it a matter of specialization, or just trying to discover a student's talent early enough?
I think from my understanding, junior school is a place where you get to observe and see, because at that particular point they are not choosing subjects yet. So like Mark said, they are getting exposed to the different subjects. So it will be STEM, it will be art and sports, it will be all of them bundled together. And somehow it's getting introduced at that level. So at junior school, they are able to see the different options, so that when it comes to choosing their subjects, then they at least have an idea, what am I good at? What do I like doing? What do I want to be? And that's a discussion that starts as early as junior school, so that at least by the time they are going to high school, now they already know exactly, then this is the pathway I want to chase, this is the pathway I want to be into, and then they are able to specify. So I think junior school is giving students a space to realize who they are, cement, and they already know of the pathways they are getting into. So in a way, they are getting prepared. And you'll find students nowadays saying, this is what I want, not even without involving the parents, because that has already, they have already been exposed to these choices. So I think at that level, then like the question you had asked earlier, parents and teachers really need to partner to support their students, because at this level they are sure, today I want to be a lawyer, tomorrow I want to be an artist, but just giving them options to experiment all these things, so that at least by the time they move forward to secondary, they already at least are clear on which pathway they need to take.
Do you think there are conversations about CBE that we should be having, but we are not having, especially when it comes to parent involvement, the collaboration that you're talking about with teachers, so that by the time a student is coming to choose their career pathways, they know what they are doing?
That's a very good question, and I think it's handled differently. I wouldn't say there are conversations that are not being held, because there are people who are proactive and they're already talking. But in general, as a country, I think it's really important to continue having these conversations to educate. For example, I have parents who feel like, I don't even know what they are doing. I don't even understand what are these pathways. So I guess it will be wise to continue with these conversations, discussing pathways even before getting to, for example, grade 10, so that at least a parent knows, how do I prepare my child? How do I get involved? And also, a teacher also identifying a gift or a talent or a strength in a child and cheering them on, and being able to communicate this also back at home and saying, oh, so-and-so is really good at this, have you considered this? And then that brings an opportunity to have these discussions. So I think the discussions, mainly it's from the foundation of a home, a school, and then also at a greater level in the education sector. So educating the citizens and the country, what exactly are we doing with all these changes, so that at least we are able. So I feel like conversations are already happening, but I think we need to do more to be able to educate everyone, in all stakeholders.
Mark, you look at this system, and when it comes to pathways and choosing the pathways, does it bridge the gap where the teacher knows the students more than the parents knows their kid who is going to school?
I think it depends on the parents, Mike. I really think, I mean, Catherine has said this comes right down to a foundational family unit level, where if parents are engaging with their schools and schools are engaging with their parents, it's not just up to parents, it's also up to schools to be engaging them. It's a two-way conversation. If we're bringing parents on board and we're bringing them along on the journey, what a wonderful opportunity for our parents to be able to see their kids in more context, see them in different light, to be able to start discovering who they are with them. It's a big mind shift change for a lot of traditional parents from I'm going to trust the school to academically teach my child and then assess them at the end, to actually this is more about the journey. And the end point might not be as crystal clear. It's not just as simple as you got 82% for maths. We do get marks at the end, but the way that we arrive at those is what we call formative rather than summative. So the focus is not on a final end exam test mark. The focus is on the journey, the experience through the process. And the risk there for teachers is that if they're not well trained, they don't know how to implement that. And so there needs to be a lot of work with the teachers to make sure that they understand how to implement that. And then with the parents to bring them into the experience and the journey and say, come along with us and find out more about your child. Ask them questions along the way.
So it's more of an understanding, kind of assessing how a student understands the learning process, everything that is involved in between.
Yes. In education, there are a few different catchphrases over the years that people have used. We talk about project-based learning. We talk about inquiry-based learning. I'll give you a very practical example maybe so that parents can get a clear picture in their minds of what this might look like.
Yes.
We have a project at COA which is called the Business Expo. And what it essentially does is pull in elements of art and design, business and accounting, English, mathematics, and we've taken strands from different subjects and we've designed a task where the students have to use the design process to spot a real world problem around them and then design a business and launch a business to address that problem. Now, if you think about how that's different to traditional learning, in traditional learning, I'm going to tell you what you need to know, you're going to remember it, and then you're going to repeat it to me in a test. And if I've got 30 kids in my class, all 30 should give me the same answer. I don't always get the same answer from all 30, but I should get the same answer. But in this model, you think about that project, it's cross-curricular, so there's many subjects involved, and every one of those 30 students is going to see a different problem, and they're going to launch a different business to solve their problem. And so when I'm marking that as a teacher, I'm not marking just the final product. I'm sitting with them all along the journey and I'm saying, okay, unpack for me, what problem have you identified and why do you think that's important? And then we're having a discussion. It's a lot more one-on-one and it's a lot more integrated into the process, and they might get a little mark for that part of the project, and then we're moving on to solving some other part of it. Or have you been able to put your unit economics in place? Can you identify how much this is going to cost for you to solve it, and how are you going to price it? What's your price point going to be? Can you do that accounting properly? Okay, you're going to get some more marks for that. And so it's built into the process. It's a very different way of teaching and learning. From the child's perspective, you can imagine how much more immersive it is for them.
Yes. You know, you look at, still on the pathways, do you think this career guidance system that are there are strong enough to guide the students in making an informed pathway?
A very good question, and also to think more about it. But I'm also thinking we have enough resources and enough trained people. The thing is, do we have the burden to make this happen? How serious are we taking this? So I feel there's already resources available. There are already trained people in the education sector. We have very many people who would love opportunities. So I guess it's creating these opportunities to onboard people who will support this journey all through, educate people, counsel the students, have these several meetings, whether it's in schools or continuous conversations on this. But the main question is, are we ready to take up this? Are we ready? Are we taking it seriously as it should be? And I guess there's a number of us who are trying, and there are others who are just flowing. But I think my encouragement would be if we can all get on board and just immerse ourselves in giving support, because counseling, and it's all about giving support and guiding, so that at least we are able to guide our students as they take this journey and in the transition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, Mark, pathways that we are talking about, of course, they will lead to professionals and different career directions. But do you see them addressing unemployment in this way, aligning the education system more closely with the labor market needs? Or is it a case of overestimating that link?
Mike, I think there are probably three opportunities that we have here, and whether we leverage these opportunities or not comes down to the implementation piece. So how well we implement it, how well schools buy into it, parents buy into it, how well teachers are trained. I keep saying that's so critical. But if it's implemented well, there's some specific opportunities. One is that we're from a younger age not narrowing the focus and the scope of the students, and so we're keeping their opportunities wider, so that if there are opportunities in the market that pop up and they thought they were headed in one direction, but a different opportunity in the market presents itself, they're able to pivot. One of the things we say to our students all the time at COA is, you need to be both robust and flexible. How can you be both? How can you be strong and resilient, but also dynamic and moldable and changeable? And that combination of qualities is really important in a student. And if our curriculum has that combination of qualities, it's much easier for the students to be versatile and dynamic and respond to market needs. The second opportunity that I see for us here, when we think about responding to market needs and the changing world around us, is that idea of our students are going to be much more soft skill developed. So when they go out and they start applying to universities, you know, there used to be far fewer people applying for the number of seats that we have at universities, and then once they qualified, there were far fewer jobs available for the number of graduates. That's not true anymore. We've got many more high school graduates than we have university seats, and we've got many more jobs, many fewer jobs than we have university graduates. And so it's a strange bottleneck situation, but what this does is it gives the students the opportunity to develop soft skills that when they're in a situation like that, they ask themselves critical questions that help them to problem solve. And so you think back to that example I gave you of the business expo that we run.
Yes.
If a grade 4 is able to do that, identify a problem in the real world, come up with a solution, do the unit economics and start a business. If they're able to do that from grade 4, when they leave university and they can't find a job, they're not going to say, well, I don't know what to do now. They're going to say, well, what problems do I see in the world around me, and how do I address those? What can I do about that? And so the soft skill development, again, becomes a real driver for long-term success for the whole country. And what you see is that what benefits the individual and the family unit then spills over to the immediate community around them, and that's good for us.
You have taught in a different system of education.
Yes.
How different is it from CBE?
I think I would just go back again to what Mark said in the beginning. They are very similar. They are very similar. Their education approach is very similar. The only difference is how it's shared or how it's taught. So in the past, for example, whether it's international curriculums, it was more project-based or research-based, where students will go out and research on different topics and then come back and share within a class setup. So everybody has, like, for example, we all have the same topic, but then we go and in-depth and research, and as we research, everybody will come with different ideas that they have brought in. And I think that is very similar to what now CBE is doing, different from what we did in 844, because 844 was cramming, I need to pass an exam at the end. And right now we see involvement also in CBE, where children are sent out to do a research or to do an activity outside. I remember my son being sent to the market to sweep as a CBE activity. And that was just something new for him, you know. And so they get to see what exactly is happening in the real world. But I think also as we grow also in technology, there are more challenges that these children are very informed and they know. And so they have this space. So I would say their CBE and other curriculums are very similar, but the implementation is where the difference comes in. Again, also with resources, because CBE is a national curriculum, and everyone in Kenya deserves to have an experience or go to school and experiences. But we also have private schools that have maybe smaller numbers, and they are able to cater for that. So you find they could be doing something similar with a child who is in a remote place, but these private schools also have maybe more resources that they offer for their students, and that brings in the difference between the two approaches.
Which now Mark brings the question of how do we ensure that this continuous assessment does not widen the inequality between well-resourced schools and under-resourced institutions.
You know, Mike, this is a monumental challenge when you have any type of change or are rolling out any sort of development, whether it's a technological advance or a pedagogical change. The inequality gap very often widens before it narrows. And that's something that everybody has to be proactively working against. And this really comes down to the two elements that we've spoken about quite often in this conversation: implementation and resourcing. And if the department is moving us towards CBE, then it's going to be critical for us to make sure that the implementation and resourcing focus is as much or more on the schools that really need it, the schools that don't have the resources or the technical know-how to be able to say, well, let's figure this out. We get the educational philosophy and it's sound, but if we're going to make this practically workable in our school, we've just got to got to pull our socks up and get it done.
Yes.
There are schools that are really going to need support through this, both through allocation of resources and the teacher training element.
In the interest of time, let me give you each a chance to give your closing remarks, and I'll start with you.
First, I would like to say thank you very much for having us today, and also saying it's really important to continue having this discussion as we mold our younger generation. I'm happy that we have different options also in the market as this transition happens. And my encouragement for parents, especially parents, is do not be scared of what's happening. Get involved, get immersed, and then try and see what's right for your child and support them all through. For those who may not know what to do, I believe schools are open to continue having these discussions to support them. We have an amazing resource called the internet. We can immerse ourselves there, and Kenya is known as one of the countries that we are very busy online. So we can immerse ourselves there and see what are the different options out there. What do I wish for my child? And then get involved. For those who are in the education sector, like me, I would continue encouraging everyone to continue passing the word around, to continue educating, whether it's in a forum like this or whether it's on one-on-one. We need to pass the message around, and we need to stop looking at it as a burden, but a possibility that will transform our country.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
Mark.
Mike, I think my challenge, seen as Catherine has encouraged the parents, my challenge is for the schools, the school leadership and the teachers. Just as Catherine said, there's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity for our schools as well. And I would really encourage teachers in the same way. One of the most amazing things that we have in our arsenal is the ability to go and research and upskill ourselves in a way that previous generations didn't have. We think about technology is an amazing opportunity for us to leverage. I mean, Catherine and I come from a completely online school. It's something that we haven't seen in the past before. Teachers are able to upskill themselves similarly. Go and do some research, find some professional development. Go and look at where things like the CBE have been implemented in other countries around the world, and you'll find to varying degrees of success. Some have been very successful, some have been not successful. Go and do some research, find out why. What happened in the local schools that you could be an agent for change to drive success in this in the long run?
Before we close, how does COA contribute to make CBC successful?
I love that question. So if we think about all the things that we've spoken about, think about the soft skills and the versatility and the robustness with the flexibility, COA embodies those. I mean, Catherine and I are colleagues. Catherine lives in Kenya, I live in South Africa. We've got 800 students around Africa. We're not bound to a geographic location. All of us work entirely remotely. It's a very dynamic, versatile way to work, but we're able to leverage tools and platforms and resources that are so real-world relevant. And so what we're able to do is address a curriculum like the CBE or the South African CAPS curriculum, which is very different to the CBE, or the UK curriculum, and we're able to teach our students in a way that is very dynamic and real-world relevant. It's a very exciting place to be at the moment.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you so much for making time to come and talk about matters education. Mark Anderson is the founder and principal of COA Academy, and also Catherine Mothani is the coordinator of COA Academy. This conversation comes to an end right now, but do not go too far. Vivian Degwa is up next with Women at the Forefront. My name is Mike Mugwe. Stay with us.
Want to enjoy free-to-air digital TV with crystal clear quality? Here's how to get started with Signet. Step 1. If you have a smart TV, you're good to go. Next, connect the aerial to your TV. Now, do an auto search on your TV. Just follow the prompts on the screen. And that's it. You're now tuned in to Signet. Sit back and enjoy a wide range of free-to-air digital channels. For technical inquiries, call the Signet hotline on 0770 572 656.
Are you a talented artist? Or are you passionate about a topic you want to discuss? But money can be very hard to find for an upcoming artist. Don't worry, Studio Mashinani has got your back. Sign up on ajira.co.ke to book a session with our music and video producers across the country. Work on your music, jingles, spoken words, and even podcasts to realize your dream. All for free. Studio Mashinani, Radani Talent.
Don't move! This isn't over yet. That's enough of you. Let go of me! You deaf? I said let go! I'm telling you, I can destroy you with my phone.
Jason, come on, let go!
Just try. I put up with you for months.
Oh, well, we're so sorry.
That's not good enough! Look at my car, look at what he did!
So sorry.
What kind of hotel is this?
You're right.
You here to scam us? What do you think this is?
That's enough!
All right, hurry up! Come on, hurry up!
Send help!
Allah alimwamuru ajenge safina kubwa ambayo aliweza kuwaingiza binadamu na pia wanyama. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala aliteremsha mvua na mafuriko makubwa ambayo yaliweza kuwasomba wale wote waliokuwa hawajapanda kwenye jahazi lile.
Ni mambo gani ukiwa nayo kama mwanadamu utakuwa umepata faida kubwa hapa duniani na kesho akhera?
Na ikukataze maovu. Alhasru, jipambe na tabia njema, kusema ukweli, kuwa na rahma, uwe mtu wa kusamehe. Alhasru, mtu mwenye kutoa ile amana, kujipamba na tabia njema.
Masjid ni kitovu cha mshikamano, ni mahali ambapo familia nzima hukutana, vijana hujifunza stadi za maisha na watoto hukua wakilelewa katika misingi ya imani.
Jinsi ambavyo binadamu anahitaji lishe bora kwa ajili ya kukua vizuri, basi ndio hivyo kwa mifugo wako. Wanahitaji chakula bora, sio tu chakula. Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tunaangazia June Cow, lishe kwa ng'ombe wako.
Hii nyasi inakuliwa na wanyama wote. Sungura, nguruwe, ng'ombe, mbuzi, kondoo, hata pia kuku. Protein yake iko between 16 and 18%. Ni kama kulisha na dairy milk. Kila siku.
Ungana nasi kila Jumamosi saa 10:30 hapa KBC Channel 1 kwa mseto kamili wa kilimo.
Mambo ya kuungua na moshi ambapo mke tuko naye huyu. Nishakwambia wakati wowote, saa yoyote njoo, na kama una njaa mwambie Amina chochote unachotaka kupikia. Huyu ni kama bibi yako pia.
Unaweza kuwa wewe ni mzuri, uolewe na mwingine bongo lala. Siwezi kutoka siku moja nikupeleke picnic. Uende ujionee, jionee hata tupitie mahali kama hizo zinauzwa.
Sasa leo wewe wananiambia twende mimi na wewe picnic. Wataka kunivunjia nyumba yangu masanduku. Taona naye ulimletea bibi hapa karibu.
Bibi nani?
Mimi je?
Yaani mimi sijui kumbe masanduku ashakuoa. Baba hawezi kutoka paka leo nimchafue sura.
Hapana.
Tumaini hawezi mkubali mtoto asiyekuwa wake, na ndio maana nakuhitaji.
Hapo awali mimi nilimjua mke wangu, lakini nimempoteza.
Mimi sitaki chochote kutoka kwa baba yako. Wasikia? Na kama wataka wakili wangu mwandikie wakili wako, atafanya hivyo.
Niondokee, utashanga saizi. Hii si nyumba yako, useli kunifukuza.
Sasa, nini?
I will stay by your side. Our love so beautiful. My love shine throughout the world. Take my breath
Sugo lengo la iningo dile no sim FM kajina no na shipai no lendilai na agra yake erishata mai sosionoto kuna sai enteiba karibu leng engidesheni no sim FM.
A very good evening to you and a warm welcome to the #1 early evening show on the dial. It is time for the Sunset Love, the Sundowner show on KBC English Service with me, Catherine Donye.
Natumai huna neno msikilizaji popote pale ulipo. Jumatano ya leo ya tarehe 11 mwezi Februari mwaka 2026. Karibu ndani ya KBC Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya. Mimi hapa niite Cynthia Anyango, tutakuwa nawe kuanzia mwendo wa saa 4 hadi saa 7 majira ya Afrika ya Mashariki. Usibanduke popote pale ulipo.
There we have it. Those are our radio queens. And as we had mentioned earlier on the show, we are about celebrating radio this entire week. We get to celebrate World Radio Day on the 13th of February. That will be on Friday. But throughout the whole week, throughout this week rather, beginning from Monday, we have been celebrating radio right here on KBC. And as you have seen, you know, as you've heard from the queens themselves, just to get a feel of how they get to do their thing when they are on the other side of studio, that is the radio side. We have I think more than 20 radio stations right here in KBC, and it is a pleasure to get to host these ones here, these queens here, so that we get to have a feel of how it has been for them throughout the years that they have been on radio. Now, radio is one of the most influential mediums of communication, you know, widely spread, and they are among the people who get to inform us, get to entertain us, and get to educate us as well. They've already introduced themselves, so I won't do much of the introduction. They have already done that. You know, we have a presenter from NOSIM, English Service, and of course, Radio Taifa. And I just want to begin from just by knowing where it all began for you. Can you remember your very first day on air? Let me begin with you, Nashipai. Can you remember your first day on air and how was that like for you?
My first day on air was actually, I was being hosted on English Service. I went for a field work I did a story, a feature story, then I came back and now I was reporting what that was like for me. So it was an interesting experience, but a very nice one because it got to expose me now before I joined Nosim FM to actually host the show myself. So it was enlightening and really interesting to actually pass out the information. Sitting there and being the center of attention was a huge responsibility, but all in all, I thank God because I delivered.
Yeah. Catherine Donye, you have been on a show that has been, I mean, the longest surviving shows. I don't know if it's the actual longest, but one of the longest surviving shows on air. That is a Sundowner. Your voice, I am sure everyone recognizes your voice out here. Just how has that been like for you? And if you can just take us back to when it all began for you. You know, did you know that you were going to be someone who will be on radio? Was that your dream from the beginning?
From the beginning, I tell people I'm one of those very few people, or very few children, who dream of becoming something and they become exactly it. So I was fortunate. I loved radio since I was a child. It was my companion. Fast forward to my very first day on air, very different from Purity's. Mine was not a day to celebrate. It was brutal. It was brutal being on air for the first day. I did not start as an on-air presenter, like live presenter, because I was pretty young. I was very nervous. I started radio when literally the whole country would be listening to you. There was no liberalized airwaves where people have a choice. This was a station where you know very well, including everybody in the country, including the president, if they need to listen to radio, it is your station that they will tune into. So subconsciously you know, man, I'm being listened to. I was so young, so shy, so afraid, so it was brutal, it was difficult. I would even forget my name. I would open the microphone and forget what my name is, you know? So it was difficult for me. Yeah, but as time went on, I got the hang of it, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. Yes. Here you are now, several years later. How many years?
Not several, many. It's 3 lifetimes. It's a whole lifetime.
Yeah.
In August this year, I'll have been on radio for 30 years.
30 years. 3 decades.
Yes, I'm 29 years old in the business.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You know?
Thank you.
Alafu sasa naye tunaye Simpi. Hapa sasa ni Kiswahili pale inaborogwa, you know? Inateremka kisawasawa. Simpi, we know you from Zinga back in the day with Boni Msambi, right?
Yes.
Alafu sasa hivi bado uko pale ndio, lakini pia sasa umeingia kwenye production side of it. Just you know, story yako iko tofauti na ya Cynthia na Shipai ya Catherine rather na Shipai, ama story yako iko tofauti kivipi?
Story yangu iko tofauti kidogo kwa sababu mimi kabla nije hapa nilitoka kule Mombasa. Lakini kusema ule ukweli nitasema kwamba KBC ndio imenikuza, na pia jina langu la Cynthia limesikika sana wakati nikiwa hapa KBC. Nakumbuka kwamba nilikuja tarehe 1 mwezi Aprili mwaka wa 2011, kumaanisha miaka karibu 15 iliyopita. Kwa hivyo hata mimi pia namfukuzia Catherine unyo kwa unyo.
Uko nusu yake sasa.
Niko nusu yake sasa. Kabisa, na nilipokuja ndio nikaingizwa kwa kipindi cha Zinga. Kusema ule ukweli kilikuwa kipindi kizito sana kwangu, kwa sababu Mombasa si unajua kwamba ilikuwa inasikika tu ni ya regional station, so inasikika tu mahali fulani, lakini sasa nimekuja KBC unasikika pande zote za taifa letu la Kenya. Haikuwa rahisi, lakini nikasema kwamba lazima tujikakamue. Si tumesema kwamba tunataka kazi na tunapenda kazi yetu, kwa hivyo lazima tujikakamue, na nikajikakamua mpaka saa hizi niko hapa, na nashukuru sana kwa sababu KBC imenijenga mimi hapa kama Cynthia Nyango. Kabisa.
So since radio began, that is way back, you know, from the colonial days, radio has really evolved over the years. Sasa hivi pia tuko na, you know, radio stations in our dialect languages, you know. Sasa kuna za kila
kabila.
Kila kabila Kenya hii. Sidhani kama kuna kabila ambayo hakuna radio station yake. Kwanza hapa KBC kuna radio station ya kila kabila ambayo unafikiria. I mean, kuna radio station ya Kimasai, unajua. So for you Nashipai, being that you are now a presenter, you know, of your local dialect, just how would you say you felt that impacting, you know, the community?
Being the voice of the community is a huge honor and a huge responsibility. Being behind the microphone is not just about just being there. You know, you're the voice of the people. I'm not just presenting a show when I'm there, you know. I'm carrying the stories, the values, and the realities of my people. Being that voice means listening carefully, you know, speaking the truth, always remembering that someone out there feels like they belong, because Nosim FM speaks their language. So it's a huge responsibility, not a light one. Yeah.
So that has really impacted a lot, you know, in terms of, you know, the community outreaches and all of that. I'm sure sasa unajua tumeingia kule mashinani kabisa, which is a good thing.
Yes, being there means people are watching you. The community is watching you. Girls who are growing up are watching me. We have done a lot trying to impact the community. We actually go to schools when we can. We entertain the kids. We actually show them that you have a future beyond just this place. Just to give you a short example. Girls in my community, it is very unfortunate, but it is still there. Early marriage is not just a story. It still exists. And it is not just forced. Some actually want to. It has come to my attention that most of us feel like after high school, you feel like you go to get married. High school is the dream. Get married after that, and that's it. But now being here means people get to see me. Girls get to see me and know that there is a future ahead. It is not just about getting to high school and getting married. That alone, if I don't get to impact any other thing, that alone means a lot to me, because my fellow girls from the community get to experience and learn a lot and get a brighter future.
I love that. I love that. And there's nothing as good as just seeing, you know, just getting to see someone who's come from your place and is doing this thing, you know. So it shows you that it is possible, it can be done. So you're doing an amazing job on that. Now, Catherine, you know, with a career spanning over now almost 3 decades, I'm sure you have gotten to witness all these changes that we're talking about, Matters Radio. And with the era that we're living in right now, it's the era of technology, it's the era of social media, it's the era of podcasts now. What would you say has made radio remain standing? Because as much as there are all these other mediums, I mean, radio still stands strong.
Radio remains the king when it comes to broadcasting. Some people might not know, but at KBC, the regional stations did not start with the FM stations. When I was joining KBC, Kimasai was being broadcast from Broadcasting House here. It was, I think, in the central station where Kikamba was also being broadcast from, and Kiembu. So the regional stations have been there because it has also been a national duty from back in the day for the public broadcaster to broadcast important information in our vernacular stations. Fast forward to the era of technology. The beauty of radio. I mean, radio is just the most beautiful thing that will ever happen in the media sector, because radio is versatile. It is so dynamic. You know, some people would have thought, by 2026, radio will have died, because after all, there is so much coming up. The beauty of radio is that it patches itself on whatever technology that appears. You see, how many people right now are on the road, driving, going places? They can't watch TV, but they can listen to radio in their cars, on their phones.
What are you saying
bring
about
internet.
Well, tread carefully.
Internet comes, we patch ourselves, we create live stream. So you can, now it's even better. Now the deal is even better because I'm being listened to by Kenyans who are in the diaspora, who love Sundowner. They did not have that opportunity before technology came. So I think used positively, technology has just been carrying radio with it. Yeah, we are not strugglers. We are not struggling to reach the people. Yeah.
It just happened.
TV, you have problems.
My director, can you off my mic? If you can just off Catherine's mic for me. Well, I mean, Cynthia, you know, kuna watu ambao huwa wanasema ni kuongea tu. I mean, radio, nani hawezi kufanya radio? Unaenda tu unaongea tu, ni kuongea tu. What would you say concerning that, and just giving us a feel of what goes on behind the scenes? Na mtu asione kama mnatokea tu mnaongea tu then mnaenda home.
Ni ukweli kabisa Vivian, watu wengi wanasema kwamba kazi yenu si ngumu. Kazi yenu ni rahisi, wewe ni kuamka tu na kwenda kazini na kuongea. Lakini sasa hajui unaenda kuongea nini. Ndio, wewe nikikupatia nafasi uongee, utaongea nini? Unaona? Maanake radio si kuamka tu na kwenda kuongea. Lazima katika kipindi changu kuanzia Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa kuna zile segments. Najua kwamba Jumatatu nitazungumza ABCD. Na katika hayo mazungumzo lazima niwe na mpangilio. Leo kama nazungumza kuhusiana na masuala ya wanawake na uongozi, vile umetweeta hapa. Nikileta kiongozi mwanamke, nafaa nimuulize maswali ya aina gani? Lazima niwe na background information kumhusu huyo mwanamke pale, kama ni wa biashara vile vile, unaona. Pia mziki ule ambao tunaupeleka hewani, lazima mziki pia ni content. Kwa hivyo lazima pia nicheze mziki ambao ni mzuri. Siwezi kwenda tu nikacheza mziki tu hivi. Kama mimi mwenyewe sitapendezewa na ule mziki, yule msikilizaji anaweza kupendezewa na huo mziki kweli? Kwa hivyo si mambo na kuamka na kwenda. Radio ni ngumu na inahitaji research kali sana. Alafu pia vile vile pale kwenye zile machine, unafikiria tu unakuja tu unazungumza kwa kitu kama hichi.
We can actually see them
kuna mashini pale, na zile mashini lazima uzijulie vile ambavyo zinakuwa operated, ndio uweze kuoperate vizuri. Wakati wa mziki uweke mziki, wakati wa kuzungumza uzungumze, wakati wa kuweka pia matangazo ya biashara uweke kwa wakati ufaao, kwa sababu yule mtu ambao amelipa pesa zake ndio biashara ziende, anaweza kulalamika, mbona biashara yangu haijaenda na ilhali nimelipia. Kwa hivyo wewe ndio utakuwa na shida. Kwa hivyo radio si rahisi, si rahisi kabisa. Ina changamoto nyingi na lazima pia ujipange vilivyo. Sio uende tu ukazungumza, utazungumza nini? Kama ni kuhusu current affairs, lazima pia ujue masuala ambayo yanahusu taifa letu la Kenya. Usiende pale msikilizaji labda ni mwerevu kuliko aku challenge pale, itakuwa sasa wewe pia unapoteza kazi yako.
Can I add something onto that before I lose that train of thought?
Yes.
Radio is not easy.
True.
But I will not speak, because these days we have 1,000,001 radio producers and presenters. Anybody who can speak, they think they can do radio. But any radio journalist, any radio producer or presenter knows that radio is double work. I'll come back to TV. You see, on TV, we can see the picture. You just need now to fill us in with the voice, the sound. But on radio, your work is double. You have to create the picture in the mind of the listener.
That's true.
So radio is double work. It's very difficult. Back in the day, our trainers told us 80% of our time should go into preparation. People think, like I host Sundown, it's just, music. It's not like that. I've had people ask me, why do you come so early? I mean, your show is at 5. What are you doing here at midday? If I do not prepare, I don't have a show. Back in the day, there's one radio programs manager who told me, because back in the day, music had to be bought in the shop. You had to walk to a shop to buy music. Told me, you don't just walk in there and play songs. Play me a song I would walk into a shop and buy. And that has never left my mind. You don't just sit there and play anything. It has to have substance. It has to make an impact on whoever is listening. So radio is hard work. Yes, it's not for the faint-hearted.
Nashipa, you have something to add?
I've actually had people visiting the studio and telling you, kazi yenyu ni rahisi sana. And you're like, if you knew how much work we put into this. And being in a vernacular station, I'm the presenter, I'm the producer of the show, I am the one who decides the music I play on the show. So it's double work. Nobody tells me, play this, do this, don't do this. No, it is up to me to decide. So I'm telling you, I'm seated there for 4-5 hours. Talking, addressing matters. I have to look for a topic of discussion, find a guest maybe. Before you find a guest, you have to be conversant with what you're talking about. Even if you're not a doctor, you're hosting a doctor, you have to know what you're saying. So it becomes double work. It is a lot of attention. You're using few hours, but you're exerting too much force. You're using your brain, you're using your hands, you're using your eyes on all those computers in front of you, all those mixers in front of you. So it is a very, very challenging job. Nobody will understand unless they actually sit on that chair. Yeah.
I totally agree with all of you, because it's the same also on TV. It's not like we just come and we start talking. That's why I usually have a book even, because you need to do your research. You know, you get to interview a doctor. You are not a doctor, so you need to do your research on you know, the topic of conversation that you're doing. So I definitely do get you. Now, Catherine, you are the person who, you know, allows us to feel the nostalgia, you know, and all of that with Sundowner. Do you have a personal sunset song?
If I say I have one particular song, I'll be lying. As we speak, you know, I can't count how many times I've played a song and told the people, that's my favorite song. It's a lie. There's so much good music. There is so much good music, you know. So it is so difficult. Every song is a #1 song. Every song is a #1 song. So a lot of times you have a variety that is just so good. So you give credit everywhere because it's deserved everywhere.
So I don't have any.
I have few songs I can say those ones they
mention some of
differently.
Okay.
There are songs that were done by musicians collectively. Like for instance, in the USA, we have USA for Africa, who came together to sing for charity back in 81 or 85 in Ethiopia, and they did We Are the World. Now that is a song and a half. It is not just a song. It's a mountain of a song. And that is why I guess they produced that, you saw that film on Netflix, The Greatest Night in Pop History. The greatest of the world coming together to produce in one night, producing a song. And Canadian musicians also came up with their song. It's called Tears Are Not Enough by the Northern Lights. They called themselves the Northern Lights. So those two songs mean a lot to me, including others.
Okay. What was that one live, you know, a live moment in studio rather, your live moment that has stuck with you? Yani, that time, something that has still stuck with you.
In studio?
Yeah, a live moment that happened.
Okay, nilipokuwa Zinga kipindi cha asubuhi tulikuwa tunahoji watu wengi sana. Kusema ule ukweli, maanake ni platform ambayo imetufanya tukaalika watu kadhaa wenye tabaka mbalimbali na watu ambao ni mashuhuri, kusema ule ukweli, watu ambao huwafikiria kwamba siku moja unaweza kuwafanya nini, kuwahoji. Sasa siku moja kinara wa ODM marehemu Raila Amolo Odinga alikuja studioni. Unajua Raila Amolo Odinga alikuwa na vipasho, acha niseme vipasho. Yani unaweza kumfanyisha interview lakini at the same time anaweza akakupatia backlash nyingine ya kimataifa. Akakuaibisha wewe ambao unamfanyia interview. Ni kweli. Hiyo siku alikuja na tulikuwa na mwenzangu Boni, tukamfanyisha tu interview vizuri. Lakini akatuchapa na jambo moja kali sana hapo. Tuliishia kujicheka sisi wenyewe. Lakini sasa hilo ndio jambo ambalo nalikumbuka mpaka leo na ni miaka mingi sana kusema ule kweli, lakini pia moments nzuri kuinterview watu kama kina Musalia Mudavadi, kuinterview kina watu kama Eugene Wamalwa. Unajua yani hapo pia hadhi yako ama status yako inaongezeka kwa kiasi fulani. Kwa hivyo hiyo pia ndio raha ya redio. Wanakuja walio na wasiomo.
Your live on air moment that has stuck with you?
Live on air moments, I will say a certain phone call. When you're taking phone calls, it's a really risky thing because you can't control what the other person is going to say on air. Our people have a tendency of oversharing, or overusing the time. That is just one. But now there's one person who would call. He's listening, yes, but you're speaking one thing and they're saying a different thing. So you're left wondering, do I go along with what he's saying, or do I get him back to the trail of, you know, what we are talking about? So it becomes really tough because this is somebody elderly, of course, you can hear from the voice. This is somebody elderly, you don't know what to do. Sometimes you just let them speak and finish what they are saying so that you can get back to what you are doing, like nothing happened, because there's nothing you can do there on air.
Personal discretion is everything. So we are forced to think on our feet when we are on air. Because anything can happen. Mine is not a specific aha moment. Like I can pinpoint and say, on this day, such a thing happened. A lot of things have happened. But it's a time, when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, you know, radio brought us up. As teenagers, we relied on the radio for everything. Because radio gave factual information. There was one program that used to feature, it was a youth program. It was called the Youth Variety Show. And it used to feature youth reproductive health and everything a teenager would like to know, be it adolescence, puberty, you know, health, nutrition. So there would be doctors and psychiatrists and, you know, counselors. It used to be hosted by, at least when I was a teenager, it used to be hosted by Elizabeth Omolo and John Karani that time. Now, as a teenager, I couldn't miss that program. I could not miss that program for anything. It was, they seemed to be talking about everything I wanted to hear and to know. All the questions were being answered. So I come to KBC and I meet my mentors here, John Karani being one of them, Elizabeth Omolo being the mother of broadcasting. And then, after not so long, the program is still airing. So I am picked to present the program with John Karani. I had reached heaven.
I can imagine.
I had arrived. I had arrived in heaven. So that one I can say was the peak of my time at KBC.
So now, you know, as a radio presenter, you are part of your listeners' life.
Yes.
Every single day.
Yes.
I mean, radio is part of the listeners' lives. There are people who, whatever they do, they have a radio by their side. Hata yule ambaye yuko shambani yalima, akona radio yake hapo kando, wajua yosikiliza. So you're part of your listeners' daily living and life. Just, does that come with a lot of responsibility? Do you feel like, okay, now this, sometimes do you think about it? Do you think about it that way? Because I can only imagine, you're part of these people's lives every single day. Yani you're part of their routine. Does it, what type of responsibility is that?
You see, you are giving us the answer. Because we actually stop living our lives. Because you cannot separate yourself. Again, I repeat, if you are a presenter or producer worth your salt, whenever you're starting a program idea or you're preparing for your program, there's something called a program proposal. Now, in that proposal, there's a segment where you write the objective, underline it, put it in bold. If you're walking into a studio, what are you coming there to do? In half an hour after you've been there, or 1 hour, what will the listener have achieved after you've been there for 1 hour? that is now the problem with today's broadcasting, which I can pinpoint, where I feel we dropped the ball.
Okay.
There are people who will walk into a studio, you will tune into their show, but at the end of it, you are a bit confused. You don't know what you gained. So us, we are burdened with that. One time, because there's something I introduced on Sundowner, inspiration, motivation, because I gathered that, yeah, we like to be very glamorous on the media. We pretend everybody is enjoying life out there. But I thought to myself, and I was like, at the end of every day, it's not everybody who's had a good day.
That's true.
So can I just come in and talk to somebody who's not had a good day? And one day I met a guy, he's actually Maasai. He told me he was Maasai. He came very far to meet me. He told me, Catherine, you saved my life. I'm supposed to be dead by now. He had a notebook where he was working. He worked in something that looked like a strong room, where it was a very small room, and that was the only place he could sit because he's handling very sensitive matters. He has to be brought food in that room. So he had a notebook where he wrote everything I said. That's when I was like, okay, we don't talk in vain. So you need to be very careful what you do,
what you say
on air.
Yeah.
You are saving a life, you are impacting a life. If you will have stayed in a studio for 3 hours and you come out and you've not impacted life, my friend, get another job.
That is not your profession. Kabisa.
Responsibility yani ambayo inakuja nayo
ni kubwa sana. Majukumu ni makubwa sana. Mwanzo yule msikilizaji ana expectations nyingi sana kutoka kwetu. Anaona mtu kama Cynthia, Catherine na Shipai, hawa ni watu ambao hawana shida. Unaelewa? Sasa mtu saa nyingine uko on air, unafanya tu kipindi vizuri, anapiga simu, anakuambia bwana, mtoto wangu ni mgonjwa, amelazwa hospitalini. Hatuja kula siku 3, mtoto wangu hana school fees. Anatarajia nini? Anatarajia wewe labda umtumie pesa, apeleke mtoto hospitali ama apeleke mtoto shuleni. Kwa hivyo picha kule nje ni tofauti sana. Alafu sasa ndio maana inafanya hata watu wengine wanaishi maisha ambayo si yao. Kwa sababu mimi hapa unafikiria kwamba labda Cynthia ana pesa mpaka ana gari kubwa. Kumbe mimi mwenyewe hata sina hata gari, ndugu yangu. Ukiniona kule kule stage napanda gari, washangaa, kwani Cynthia pia apanda matatu? Tunafikiria kwamba yofanya pale, tumsikiza kwa redio, ana pesa, ana mali. Unaona? Kwa hivyo yani matarajio ni mengi na makubwa kule nje.
My director is telling me we are running out of time. We have around just 1 minute now. Na angependelea tufunge kipindi pamoja vile vile tulivyoanza, you know. So you do your outro, and you do your outro. Let us begin with Catherine this time round.
Well, it's been 2 hours of nothing but the very best of the golden oldies on Sundowner. We're coming to the end of the Sunset Lounge, and it's been lovely hosting you on this show. I hope you have reason to be back tomorrow, because God willing, I'll be back. There's more where that came from. And by the way, on Friday, Sundowner is live from Kenya Broadcasting Corporation as we mark World Radio Day.
All right.
Thank you.
Subo lengo lining wadile no sim FM kaito kia kajo kia show leng chankarake ni kiria mariana iterudo sana udo endama omera chekuna sai enteiva a show leng chankarake na simu inono nitro show a shitenkarake lo monfokin liki magidatu waguna sai endama kindo gina katumo enkolonge juma matababu wakina kajolo mone KBC abonuna adua ki ilaini ningok ashu la sirak lo mon lenkajolo mone KBC ilomon tenewoji tenkajolo mon KBC karibuni oleng na kija shitenkarake nidia Maria yoko mitashina kuna sai enteiva.
Na Vivian, pia kabla sijamaliza ni kwamba tunaalika pia wasikilizaji wetu waje hapa, manake tuna sherehe kubwa sana ya World Radio Day. Haya, natumai kwamba msikilizaji Nimalizie, si ndio?
Maliza.
Okay. Imekuwa fahari yangu kubwa msikilizaji kuwa nawe kuanzia mwendo wa saa 4 hadi sasa mwendo wa saa 7 majira ya Afrika Mashariki. Tupatane hapo kesho panapo majaliwa yake Maulana. Endelea kutegea KBC Radio Taifa, sauti ya Mkenya. Ni mimi wako Cynthia Nyango. Kwaheri kwa sasa.
All right, and that is how we wind up the show. You have already heard from the radio queens. We will be having a party on Friday right here on, or rather at the Broadcasting House. You are all welcome to just come party with your radio favorites. This is how we end today's show. Thank you for staying with us. See you tomorrow, same time, and please, God willing, goodbye.
Don't move! This isn't over yet. That's enough of you. Let go of me! You deaf? I said let go! I'm telling you, I can destroy you with my phone.
Jason, come on, let go!
Just try. I put up with you for months.
Oh, well, we're so sorry.
That's not good enough! Look at my car, look at what he did!
So sorry.
What kind of hotel is this?
You're right.
You here to scam us? What do you think this is?
That's enough!
All right, hurry up! Hurry up!
Send help!
Greetings in the name of the Most High Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice, we
have to do it twice.
Kenya is playing her part by hosting two exemplary and exceptional Olympians in Kenya who are using their legacy to actually empower girls through sports.
I believe education is powerful, and I think the more women can learn and empower themselves, that was my first really big milestone.
Education was priority, and then your athletic pursuits were going to have to come in second place.
The girls' capacity in this country is limitless. They can be absolute change makers. And I think believing in themselves, using the communities around them, and lifting each other up.
If you're driven and you have a belief in yourself and you know or are curious about a direction, keep pushing, keep driving, because you will find the people who want to support that.
Hello, hello, nimekuja na tangazo.
Hapo bra staki kusikia.
This is how we do, yeah. Chilling back, straight starting, yeah, we do it like that. Lucky Motos, do. This party's Lucky Motos. Hello, Friday. Baby, you've got a long time, you just made me. Living right.
Leo ni wewe ndio utajitetea ama bado kuna ule
woza kama kawa. Ako heri atakuja tu sasa. Niko na wakili.
Wewe si mkoti. Sorry. Pow. Is he your boyfriend?
No.
Thank you very much. Why are you there?
Where?
To that scene when that scene was going on. Unaongeza nini? Kwa hivyo hujamaliza masomo?
Masomo si mimi nilimaliza ndio nafanya kazi kama
library. Just agree with me, please. Hujamaliza. Are we together?
We are not together.
We are together. Don't usipishane na mimi. Are we together? Ulipeana kwa nini ulimpatia?
Nakwambia yeye ndiye alinipatia hiyo.
Kwa nini? Shut up now. Ala. I'm coming. Why did you choose that guy instead of choosing me?
Allah alimwamuru ajenge safina kubwa ambayo aliweza kuwaingiza binadamu na pia wanyama. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala aliteremsha mvua na mafuriko makubwa ambayo yaliweza kuwasomba wale wote waliokuwa hawajapanda kwenye jahazi lile.
Ni mambo gani ukiwa nayo kama mwanadamu utakuwa umepata faida kubwa hapa duniani na kesho akhera?
Na ikukataze maovu. Alhasil jipambe na tabia njema, kusema ukweli, kuwa na rahma, we mtu wa kusamehe. Alhasil mtu mwenye kutoa ile amana, kujipamba na tabia njema.
Masjid ni kitovu cha mshikamano, ni mahali ambapo familia nzima hukutana, vijana hujifunza stadi za maisha na watoto hukua wakilelewa katika misingi ya imani.
Allah alimwamuru ajenge safina kubwa ambayo aliweza kuwaingiza binadamu na pia wanyama. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala aliteremsha mvua na mafuriko makubwa ambayo yaliweza kuwasomba wale wote waliokuwa hawajapanda kwenye jahazi lile.
Ni mambo gani ukiwa nayo kama mwanadamu utakuwa umepata faida kubwa hapa duniani na kesho akhera?
Na ikukataze maovu. Alhasil jipambe na tabia njema, kusema ukweli, kuwa na rahma, we mtu wa kusamehe. Alhasil mtu mwenye kutoa ile amana, kujipamba na tabia njema.
Masjid ni kitovu cha mshikamano, ni mahali ambapo familia nzima hukutana, vijana hujifunza stadi za maisha na watoto hukua wakilelewa katika misingi ya imani.